Chapter 493. After half a day, Jiang Xi's communication bead vibrated as he received a communication request. It was an unfamiliar communication mark. Jiang Xi knew that it was coming. At this juncture, Jiang Xi was no longer nervous. What was the use of being nervous? It could not bring him any positive influence. What should he do? If Myriad Poison True Lord really wanted to kill him, it was useless to be nervous. Besides, it was just a communication. Myriad Poison True Lord could not kill him through the eye of heaven. With a thought, he decisively accepted the communication. Phew, the communication phantom appeared. A kind-looking old Taoist appeared in front of Jiang Xi. The old Taoist had a harmless smile on his face, which made people feel good about him. He did not look like an expert who poisoned billions of creatures. Jiang Xi greets Lord True Lord. Jiang Xi bowed respectfully. You are an elite of our human race. No need to be so polite in front of me. Myriad Poison True Lord smiled. Jiang Xi did not dare to relax at all. He squeezed out a smile on his face. Myriad Poison True Lord did not care. He smiled and said, I was recently on a whim to buy a life galaxy to play with and experience the life of the mortal world. After investigation, I found that the Milky Way galaxy under your hands meets my requirements. I am looking for you this time to buy your Milky Way galaxy. Name a price. Play. These two words came out of Myriad Poison True Lord's mouth. Wouldn't the entire Milky Way galaxy become a poison den? Jiang Xi had a bad feeling. He felt that this was not the real purpose of Myriad Poison True Lord. He pretended to hesitate and asked, Senior wants to use the life of the Milky Way galaxy, to test the poison path? I am only cruel to the alien race. I will not harm the living beings of the human race. Myriad Poison True Lord laughed. Jiang Xi pondered for a moment and said, In that case, I dare not spoil Senior's mood. The Milky Way galaxy can be transferred to Senior. However, I have a request. No problem, say it. Myriad Poison True Lord was very patient. I can transfer all the other planets in the Milky Way galaxy to Senior for free. I only want to keep the sovereignty of my home planet. Jiang Xi said. Myriad Poison's True Lord raised his eyebrows, a hint of helplessness flashing through his green eyes. Hee, you're smart. To tell you the truth, the reason why I'm interested in the Milky Way galaxy is because of your home planet, Earth. I don't care about the other planets. True Lord of Myriad Poisons pointed out the word Earth. Jiang Xi's heart tightened. Ever since he had applied to become the overlord of Earth in the heavenly court of the Tao Alliance, Earth had transformed from a desolate planet into his personal territory. However, he had never revealed the existence of Earth to the outside world. Moreover, even the Purple Heaven sect did not discover Earth back then. How did Myriad Poison Lord know of Earth's existence? Senior, my home planet is just an ordinary planet with life. Compared to many other planets with life in the Milky Way, it is insignificant. I wonder why Senior wants to buy Earth. Jiang Xi asked. Little guy, don't fail to appreciate my kindness. Do I need to give you a reason to buy something? Myriad Poison's True Monarch said sinisterly. He suddenly revealed his true face. His kind face instantly became incomparably fierce. His head of white hair was like thousands of poisonous snakes, wriggling and slithering. That pair of oily green eyes emitted a frightening poisonous light. Although they were separated by a transmission phantom, Jiang Xi still felt as if he had fallen into an abyss. A bone-piercing chill spread from the soles of his feet to his brain. It was as if death was about to descend. At this moment, the lotus platform of Jiang Xi's primordial spirit in his mind trembled slightly. It emitted a golden spiritual light and dispelled the chill. He clenched his teeth and said, Senior, Earth is this junior's home. That is the place where I was born and raised. I can't just hand over my home to someone else. Therefore, forgive me for not being able to comply. Aren't you afraid that I'll kill you? Myriad Poison's True Monarch sneered. Of course I am, Jiang Xi said resolutely and decisively. However, I'm more afraid of becoming someone without a home. This junior believes that in life, one must have something to hold on to. Protecting my home, protecting my race. This is what I insist on in my heart. After he finished speaking, Jiang Xi respectfully bowed and waited for Myriad Poison's true monarch's reply. He. Myriad Poison's true monarch suddenly laughed strangely. As an ancient existence, he had experienced too many things. His fierce name was left behind by all the races in the universe. No one had ever dared to directly reject him like Jiang Xi did. You have a lot of guts. However, you must know that with my methods, killing you is easier than breathing. Moreover, I don't need to bear any responsibility. Myriad Poison's true monarch said. Jiang Xi maintained his silence and silently resisted. Earth definitely couldn't fall into the hands of Myriad Poison's true monarch. Just like what he said just now, that was his home, his race. With Myriad Poison's true monarch's methods, no matter what secrets Earth had, it was very likely that it would become hell on Earth. Therefore, Jiang Xi threw caution to the wind. If Myriad Poison's true monarch insisted on buying Earth, then he was destined to offend this powerful existence. However, as long as he was still alive, Myriad Poison's true monarch wouldn't be able to forcefully take over Earth. The Planet Overlord decree was made by the Heavenly Court of the Tao Alliance and the 3 gates and 6 sects. Even if Myriad Poison's true monarch was the #1 poison expert of the human race, he wouldn't dare to go against this decree. What he was considering now was how to survive after offending Myriad Poison's true monarch. First of all, he would immediately return to Earth and put Earth, the Moon, and the Sun into the Heaven Connecting Pavilion. The space inside the Heaven Connecting Pavilion already contained more than 1,000 corpses of Tribulation Transcender monsters. When these corpses were put together, they had a diameter of nearly 1,000,000 kilometers. Therefore, the Heaven Connecting Pavilion could easily store several planets. In any case, the humans of Earth had never come into contact with the Universe Tao Alliance and didn't know about the existence of other races. It didn't matter if he changed space. Then, he would return to the headquarters of the Purple Heaven sect and enter seclusion in the immortal cave of the 4th heaven. When he became a Tao monarch, that was when he would come out. Wasn't it just being ruthless to himself? Myriad Poison's true monarch was a member of the Tao Alliance. He couldn't run to the Purple Heaven sect to kill people. Although the Tao Alliance was detached from worldly affairs, the Purple Heaven sect wasn't to be trifled with. Of course, the worst-case scenario was that even the Purple Heaven sect couldn't protect him. If that was really the case, then he would directly wander around. The universe was vast and boundless, and there was bound to be a place for him to hide. He could casually find a desolate star system, and even if Myriad Poison's true monarch searched, he wouldn't be able to find him. With the experience points panel, as long as he had enough time, so what if he was a Tao monarch? After figuring this out, Jiang Xi was no longer afraid of Myriad Poison's true monarch. However, on the surface, he still maintained a respectful posture and remained silent. Myriad Poison's true monarch's green eyes stared at Jiang Xi. Suddenly, he regained his kind face and laughed. Ha ha ha, as expected of a young elite of the human race, neither servile nor overbearing. This old Taoist admires you very much. How about this? There should be a lot of immortal caves on Earth, right? You can leave one for me. Although he didn't understand how Myriad Poison's true monarch knew so much about Earth, this result made Jiang Xi really relieved. He immediately agreed. No problem, I will definitely leave one immortal cave for Senior. Send first, change later. Chapter 494. When Myriad Poison's true monarch's voice transmission image disappeared, he immediately turned around. Jiang Xi felt weak all over, as if he had been sucked dry. Was he nervous? He would be lying if he said he wasn't nervous. He finally understood that what he had said in the past was all nonsense. Just now, he had truly experienced the arrival of death. The pressure that true monarch Myriad Poison brought to him was stronger than all the life and death crises he had experienced before. However, it was still a good result. The only question now was, how did true monarch Myriad Poison know about the existence of Earth? And he knew so much? Jiang Ci fell into deep thought. Could it be that the Eye of Heaven revealed the existence of Earth? When he registered as the Lord of Earth, the Eye of Heaven had to leave a mark in the sky where Earth was located. Therefore, the Eye of Heaven must know about the existence of Earth. But the Eye of Heaven was just a magic treasure. Magic treasure? Jiang Ci thought of the Sky Tower. Even the Sky Tower had an intelligent artifact spirit like Nikhang. What about the Eye of Heaven? Pale blue planet, asteroid belt. This huge celestial body at the junction of the Milky Way and the pale blue planet was an irregular three-dimensional sphere that covered the sky with a diameter of thousands of light years. It was filled with all kinds of cosmic dust, star debris, nebulas, and meteorites. The complex environment made the asteroid belt a famous dangerous place in the pale blue planet, known as the graveyard of space hunters. For countless years, the number of space hunters who had successfully entered the depths of the asteroid belt was very few. The closest planet to the asteroid belt was the dustfall star in the Milky Way. Because of its location, this planet was quite famous in the space hunter circle in the pale blue planet. On this day, 5 hours before Jiang Ci and True Monarch Myriad Mountain sent a message. A group of immortal Tao powerhouses was teleported from planet Dongyuan to the dustfall star. Then, without stopping, they drove the supreme-grade immortal artifact flying ship straight to the asteroid belt. Although the asteroid belt's environment was complex and dangerous, it was not too difficult for immortal Tao powerhouses, TSK. This unknown dangerous place in the universe has such a spectacular scene. Immortal Chao Tu stood on the deck of the flying ship and looked at the asteroid belt that was slowly moving. Even with his strength as a seventh tribulation transcender, he couldn't see through the shattered stars. It was simply made up of cosmic dust, star fragments, nebulas, meteorites, and so on. However, it was as if it had a life of its own. The 8 immortal Tao experts behind Chao Tu laughed as well. An old fifth tribulation transcender said, "What's even more surprising is that there's a planet with life hidden in the depths of this asteroid belt. When Sir brought us to look for Jiang Ci's hometown, we couldn't find it even after searching all over the Milky Way. I didn't expect it to be hidden here. No matter what, I'll definitely be the first to arrive on Earth among the many perfected cultivators and make great contributions to my father." Chao Sha laughed proudly. His bald head was sparkling under the starlight. This means that Milord is the one truly chosen by the heavens. Just by casually placing a piece, you can reap great rewards. The subordinates of the other perfected cultivators might not have reached the Milky Way galaxy yet. "We have already arrived near Earth and seized the initiative," said a female immortal dressed in colorful clothes with a smile. Seize the initiative. Chao Tu's gaze seemed to be able to penetrate the layers of obstacles and directly locked onto Earth in the depths of the asteroid belt. Half a year ago, Jiang Ci was rampant in front of him and left unscathed. In addition, Jiang Ci was the disciple of his old enemy, the Wine Sword Immortal. He couldn't tolerate this. Therefore, he carefully investigated Jiang Ci's background and found out that Jiang Ci's hometown was a planet called Earth. He even brought a team of immortal Tao experts to search for Earth in the Milky Way galaxy. However, after half a year, they still didn't find anything. It was as if Earth didn't exist in the Milky Way galaxy. Today, he suddenly received a message from his father, perfected cultivator Bao Yan, asking him to bring this team of immortal Tao experts to the depths of the asteroid belt to find and take down Earth. Only then did he know that Earth was in the depths of the asteroid belt. Next, Chao Tu's supreme-grade flying ship didn't directly fly into the asteroid belt. Instead, it directly accelerated and entered the source space outside the asteroid belt. Because of the environment inside the asteroid belt, there wasn't enough space for any object to accelerate and reach the speed of light. It would take a few hundred years to reach Earth by flying at sublight speed. If it traveled through the source space, it would only take a few hours to reach the depths of the asteroid belt. 5 hours later, the ship was about 600,000 kilometers away from Mars in the solar system. Just like the surface of the water, waves appeared and Chao Tu's supreme-grade flying ship shuttled out. Including Chao Tu, there were a total of 9 Tribulation Transcender immortals. After seeing the scene in front of them, they were overjoyed. Because this space was completely different from the asteroid belt. Their spiritual senses probed the starry sky and soon discovered Mars. Chao Tu was a little surprised. That dark red planet once gave birth to a powerful civilization. From the looks of it, it should have been dead for at least one era. One era was 36 million years. The old man who looked like a 5th Tribulation Transcender said with a smile, "My lord, it seems that this planet isn't simple." Chao Tu said with interest, "If that's the case, I'm even more curious about Earth. What's so special about this planet that my father and so many perfected cultivators value?" His father, perfected cultivator Bao Yan, was a true genius of Taoism. He was only one level below ancient existences like perfected cultivator Myriad Poison and perfected cultivator 6 Virtuous. It could be said that in this original universe, there were not many things that his father valued so much. Afterward, Chao Tu drove the flying ship again and searched the solar system. In just 15 minutes, they arrived at the space near Earth. The spirit senses of the 9 immortals immediately discovered the first moon. Among the 9 Taoism immortals, the lowest was a 3rd Tribulation Transcender, and the highest was a 7th Tribulation Transcender, Chao Tuesday. However, at this moment, their expressions changed greatly. Their faces were full of disbelief and shock. Some of the immortals even showed signs of panic. Am I seeing things? That's the Guanghan Palace of the Guanghan sect? That planet below is the moon of the Guanghan sect's headquarters. But why is it so desolate? That moon star is actually orbiting another blue planet? That's the headquarters of the Guanghan sect. No! It's not the Guanghan sect. Although that broken palace and desolate planet are similar to the headquarters of the Guanghan sect, the scale is countless times smaller. After a short period of shock, the 9 immortals regained their senses. Even Chao Tu, who was a 7th Tribulation Transcender, was shocked by the discovery just now. It seems that the blue planet should be Earth. Humph! How dare they imitate the headquarters of the Guanghan sect? Chao Tu sneered. Chapter 495. This was truly audacious. The Tao Alliance's 3 sects and 6 sects were in charge of one of the human domains. Each of the 9 major immortal Tao sects was at the top of the human race and was respected by everyone. In this place, the headquarters of the Guanghan sect was actually orbiting around a planet. It was just a satellite that served as a contrast. If this was seen by the people of the Vast Frost sect, it would definitely cause a bloodbath. No wonder father asked me to come here immediately. Earth is finished. Chao Tu's face was gloomy. He was a little angry because their shocked appearance just now was really embarrassing. In Chao Tu's opinion, it was very embarrassing. Let's go to Earth. Chao Tu snorted. He had already scoured the Earth with his spiritual sense and discovered many entrances and strange places of the Grotto Heaven world. However, this was not the main point now. Their mission was to take down Earth first. After that, they could slowly explore it. It was worth mentioning that the attention of Chao Tu and the others was completely attracted by the dilapidated Vast Frost Palace and the appearance of the first moon. They ignored the detailed exploration of the first moon and did not find the ancient interstellar teleportation array. Soon, Chao Tu and the others arrived at North America, where the Dark Shadow Nation was located. The old 5th Tribulation Transcender said in surprise, "This planet is very small, but the spiritual energy is very rich. It's really strange. It's not simple to give birth to a genius like Zhang Xi." Chao Tu looked around. They were now in a bustling prefecture city in North America. There were many people on the road, but they ignored them. Under the isolation of the immortal's spiritual sense, these ordinary people could not find them. The heavenly eye's mark is in the starry sky near this planet. After we appeared in this starry sky, we were already recorded by the heavenly eye. Therefore, If we want to take down Earth, we can only ask Jiang Xi to transfer the sovereignty of Earth, Qiao Tu said with a serious expression. Even a perfected monarch could not ignore the decree of the planet's lord, so they did not dare to violate it. Once the Heavenly Court of the Tao Alliance investigated, no one could bear the responsibility. The old Fifth Tribulation Transcender frowned and said, Sir, Jiang Xi is a disciple of the Fourth Tribulation Transcender of the Purple Heaven sect. We can't kill him. It's simple. Since this is Jiang Xi's hometown, we just need to find his family and friends and use them as bargaining chips. Qiao Sha smiled. Half a year ago, he brought people to the Milky Way to look for Earth. He wanted to use Jiang Xi's family and friends to teach Jiang Xi a lesson. As for killing Jiang Xi, after Jiang Xi mentioned True Monarch Iron Mountain and True Monarch Lu Xian, Qiao Tu gave up on this idea. Although he had a disagreeable temperament, it did not mean that he was brainless. Ing Lu. Qiao Tu looked at the old Fifth Tribulation Transcender. Your subordinate is here. Ing Lu was very respectful. If Jiang Xi knows that a group of immortals like us are on Earth, I'm sure he'll be so scared that he won't dare to go home. Qiao Tu sneered. Then, he said, I'll leave this matter to you. We won't show ourselves for now. Jiang Xi probably doesn't know about the uniqueness of Earth yet. Even my father and the other perfected cultivators have only just learned about it. If you use his family and friends as a threat, it should be easy for you to get the sovereignty of Earth. Don't worry, Your Excellency. Ing Lu said solemnly. After saying that, his figure flashed and disappeared. Qiao Tu looked at the other 7 immortals. Although Jiang Xi's spiritual sense can't find us, we should hide in the starry sky near Earth just in case. If Jiang Xi knows that I'm the one behind all this, it might lead to other troubles. Then, Qiao Tu and the others flew away and arrived in the starry sky 100,000 kilometers away from Earth on a flying boat. Your Excellency, the range of a perfected Tao integration cultivator's spiritual sense is only 100,000 kilometers. Jiang Xi definitely won't be able to find us from this position, the female immortal in colorful clothes said with a smile. Ha, a young genius at the essence soul stage. No matter how talented he is, he can't withstand the absolute gap in strength. Qiao Tu was very proud. He was looking forward to seeing Jiang Xi's expression. Logically speaking, as a 7th Tribulation Transcender, he should not compete with an essence soul stage cultivator. However, he was a person who would seek revenge for the smallest grievance and had a perverse personality. In the past, because of a very small matter, he dared to provoke the genius Wine Sword Immortal in front of the Emperor and other immortals at the Myriad Immortal Assembly. Jiang Xi was rampant in front of him. Not only did he not give him face, but he also used True Monarch Iron Mountain and True Monarch 6 Virtuous to suppress him in public. He was as hateful as the Wine Sword Immortal. Qiao Tu was also clear about his personality. He did not try to change it. Instead, he let it continue to grow. This had something to do with his growth. Ever since he fused with the God-Fiend skull, he had become a God-Fiend. After fusing with the skull, he had to stay at the limit of each cultivation realm under his father's strict requirements before he could break through. This kind of cultivation method was very torturous in itself. In addition, the God-Fiend skull was constantly affecting his temperament. After more than 70,000 years, his personality became more and more crazy and perverse. Qiao Tu knew that this was the correct way to refine the God-Fiend skull. Qiao Tu and the others did not know that Jiang Xi only had one relative, Jiang Dudu. Then, half a year ago, Jiang Daoda was taken away by the mysterious old man Bluestone. Now, on Earth, the only people who could threaten Jiang Xi were some of his old friends who were still alive. The old man who looked like a 5 Tribulation Transcendent, Ing Lu, used his spiritual sense to control several high-ranking officials of the Great Xia Alliance. After searching around, he finally found his target. Pak Sun Province, the Zhang family. More than 200 years had passed. The Zhang family had grown from an unknown small family to a big family second to none in the entire Great Xia Alliance. This was because the ancestor of the Zhang family, Zhang Wei, was a close friend of the legendary expert Zhang Xi. Of course, the Zhang family's strength had a lot to do with the fact that Zhang Wei had married more than 100 wives and had countless children. Zhang Xi is in seclusion again. This cultivation maniac, when can I catch up with him? It seems that I can only win against him in the aspect of marriage and childbirth. Zhang Wei wore beach pants and was sunbathing leisurely. However, he kept lamenting. Suddenly, a black-robed old man appeared in front of him. Who is it? Zhang Wei stood up and a supreme-grade spiritual saber appeared in his hand. You are Zhang Wei? Jiang Xi's best friend? Ying Lu asked. Zhang Wei's throat moved. The black-robed old man exuded an inexplicable aura that made him tremble in fear. However, he suppressed his fear and said, Why are you looking for Jiang Xi? Trying to play tricks in front of me? Are you trying to commit suicide? Ying Lu sneered. The powerful spiritual sense directly restrained Zhang Wei. Puff! Zhang Wei opened his mouth uncontrollably and spat out a mouthful of black blood. When he was talking just now, he wanted to take the opportunity to shatter his golden core. Chapter 496. With just a thought, Ying Lu completely imprisoned Zhang Wei. Apart from his consciousness, Zhang Wei's spiritual sense and spiritual energy were all stagnant. In front of a fifth tribulation transcender, a golden core stage cultivator had no room to resist. If he wanted to kill Zhang Wei, it would only take a thought. However, his purpose was to use these people who were close to Jiang Xi to threaten Jiang Xi. If he really killed them, it would have the opposite effect. Very good. Just now, there was a person surnamed Jiang who wanted to commit suicide. It seems that you are all Jiang Xi's closest friends. This will be easy to handle. Ying Lu smiled with satisfaction. The closer the relationship, the better the effect of coercion. Uncle Jiang was also captured. Zhang Wei's eyes widened in anger, but he couldn't speak. He could only express his anger with his eyes. Just now, he had judged that this black-robed old man was Jiang Xi's enemy. However, this person was too bold. He actually dared to make an enemy of Jiang Xi. Who didn't know that Jiang Xi was the world's #1 expert? Could it be that he was an ancestor of a hidden family that had just awakened? Did he escape Jiang Daodu's purge last time? While Zhang Wei was angry, he also guessed the identity of the black-robed old man. He didn't think that he was an alien because Earth's public opinion was controlled too well. No one knew the situation outside Earth. Soon, he was taken to the mansion of a high-ranking official of the Great Xia Alliance. This high-ranking official had been controlled by Ying Lu with his spiritual sense. Here, Zhang Wei saw familiar faces. Uncle Jiang, Lu Shan, Chen Yuan, He Changxing, everyone on Earth who was related to Jiang Xi was here. In everyone's eyes, there was only anger, helplessness, and despair. Zhang Wei's heart sank to the bottom. However, he could confirm that the black-robed old man was still afraid of Jiang Xi. Otherwise, he wouldn't have used such a despicable method to force Jiang Xi out. Following that, while everyone's emotions were extremely complicated, Ying Lu was still constantly capturing people. 5 minutes later, the number of people in the courtyard exceeded 100. Contact Jiang Xi. Ying Lu took out his communication bead and sent a message to Jiang Xi. Jiang Xi's message imprint was a secret, but Xiao Tu had obtained Jiang Xi's message imprint when he was in the land of reincarnation previously. Shuangzhou Galaxy, Keilu Planet. Jiang Xi was still pondering where Myriad Poison Lord had gotten the information about Earth. Could this be the danger that Senior Qingshi mentioned? Back then, the Purple Heavens sect searched for Earth in the asteroid belt for a long time, but they couldn't find it. This meant that there was a mysterious enchantment protecting everything in the starry sky where Earth was located. Now, Myriad Poison Lord knew about Earth, and in such detail. Jiang Xi vaguely felt that the mysterious barrier might have lost its original function with the disappearance of Senior Qingshi and the second moon. If this was the case, this could indeed be called a crisis for Earth. It would definitely be impossible to continue hiding in the future. Once so many secrets were exposed to the major immortal Dao factions of the Dao Alliance, it would definitely cause a huge uproar. What he was most worried about now was how many people or factions had discovered Earth. If even an ancient existence like Myriad Poison Lord knew about Earth, the number of people who had discovered it was probably not small. After thinking for a while, Jiang Xi couldn't think of any way to avoid this crisis. In Senior Qing Shi's eyes, this level of crisis might not be worth mentioning, but he didn't consider my strength. I haven't become an immortal yet. Jiang Xi felt helpless. Even if he had become an immortal, he would still be helpless in this situation. 10 minutes passed after he ended the communication with Myriad Poison Lord. Another stranger sent him a message. Jiang Xi narrowed his eyes and accepted the message. A black-robed elder's message phantom appeared. Hello, Jiang Xi. My name is Ying Lu. The black-robed elder smiled from ear to ear. Jiang Xi's spiritual sense quickly searched for information about Ying Lu through the Heavenly Eye network and found out that he was a fifth tribulation transcender from a Taoist sect. Greetings, exalted immortal Ying Lu. May I know why you're looking for me? Jiang Xi slightly bowed. I just want to make friends with a genius of our human race. Ying Lu laughed. Then, he said, I'm currently on Earth. Speaking of which, your old friends are very warm. One is Zhang Wei, and the other is Jiang Sheng. They treated me very well. On Earth? Jiang Xi's breathing stagnated. Then, a cold glint appeared in his eyes. Killing intent instantly rose in his heart and spread to the entire Kalu planet. What did you do to them? Jiang Xi didn't panic. Don't worry. As long as you return to Earth, we can sit down and talk face to face. They will be safe and sound. Ying Lu grinned. Okay, just you wait. Jiang Xi looked at Ying Lu coldly. The transmission ended. In the cultivation room of the Ministry of Supervision Station, the dense killing intent emitted from Jiang Xi's body seemed to condense into water. After a while, he regained his calm. The killing intent was hidden in his heart. Lu Chuan. Jiang Xi shouted coldly. Who, sir? Lu Chuan came in from outside. He had just sensed the killing intent that Jiang Xi had erupted. It should be said that all the cultivators on Kalu planet had sensed it. Follow me back to Earth. Jiang Xi said. Yes. Lu Chuan was a cultivator from the army. He followed orders and knew what to ask and what not to ask. Earth. Zhang Wei, Jiang Sheng, and more than 100 important figures on Earth saw Ying Lu take out a bead and Jiang Xi appear. The strange thing was that Jiang Xi couldn't see them. They weren't stupid. They immediately guessed that this should be a very advanced holographic communication method. However, the following conversation truly shocked Zhang Wei and the others. They were still in a state of confinement and couldn't communicate. However, they were thinking about everything at an extremely fast speed. A few key messages: exalted immortal, human genius, rush back to Earth. The black-robed elder in front of them was an immortal. He was talking about humans, not humans. Could it be that Jiang Xi wasn't on Earth now? Ying Lu put away the communication bead. When he sent the message just now, he didn't choose to instantiate the environment on his side. This was because he didn't want Jiang Xi to see these hostages and lose his mind in anger. This wouldn't be beneficial for the upcoming negotiations. Ying Lu was good at grasping people's hearts. This was also the main reason why Qiao Sha had handed this matter to him. He knew very well that the stimulation and anger produced by a verbal threat and a threat seen with his own eyes were different. The latter would make him angrier. As for the problem of offending Jiang Xi, it was no longer within Ying Lu's consideration. As long as I get Earth, I'll have contributed greatly to the perfected Lord and the Dao sect. Not to mention whether Jiang Xi can become an immortal Dao expert. Even if he does, even if he wants to take revenge on me in the future, it'll be at least 10,000 years later. By then, I'll have already used this contribution to cultivate to a higher realm. In addition, he wasn't worried that Jiang Xi would bring people over. With immortal Qiao Sha and other immortal Dao experts around, unless the perfected Lord came personally, they wouldn't be afraid. Therefore, Ying Lu was fearless. Chapter 497. Ying Lu's goal of capturing people was just to force Jiang Xi out. This was because these people were basically at the golden core stage, and some were even at the spirit nurturing stage. In Ying Lu's eyes, this kind of strength was like an ant. It was worthless. There was no hope of making Jiangxi obediently hand over the sovereignty of Earth. From outside the asteroid belt to Earth, even a supreme-grade immortal artifact flying ship will take more than 4 hours. With Jiangxi's status, a flying ship is at most a low-grade immortal artifact, and its speed is dozens of times slower. It will take him at least 5 days to return to Earth. Ying Lu calculated in his heart. At the same time, Jiang Xi did not go to planet Dongyuan or planet Pale Blue. He brought Lu Chuan directly to the interstellar teleportation point of planet Kalu. He made a complicated teleportation mark and set the teleportation destination to Earth's first moon. Ying Lu's appearance completely proved one thing: Earth had really been exposed. Since that was the case, there was no need to hide. This was also one of the reasons why he chose to bring Lu Chuan along. The other reason was Lu Chuan's strength. Although a third tribulation transcender was much weaker than a fifth tribulation transcender, he was still an immortal expert. He might be of help when the time came. Before activating the teleportation, Jiang Xi also sent a message to his master, Wine Sword Immortal. He briefly explained the current situation and sent the communication imprint of the Earth's first moon along with it. The interstellar teleportation array was activated, and Jiang Xi and Lu Chuan disappeared in the light of teleportation. 3 breaths later, after experiencing a spatial change, the two of them arrived at the interstellar teleportation array of the first moon. Lu Chuan was also shocked by the situation on the first moon. Although he had never been to the Guanhan sect's headquarters, he knew what was going on there. Jiang Xi saw Lu Chuan's bewildered gaze and clearly wanted to ask questions. He hurriedly said, "If there's any problem, I'll tell you after this matter is resolved." Lu Chuan nodded, but the shock in his heart could not subside for a long time. Then, Jiang Xi activated the teleportation array again. The destination of this teleportation was the Xian Tian residence of the Great Xia Alliance. There was a small teleportation array set up by Jiang Xi there. In less than a breath's time, the teleportation ended after the two of them stood still. Their spiritual senses immediately spread out. Then, at the headquarters of the Great Xia Alliance, Shantian Prefecture, he found Zhang Wei and the others. He immediately heaved a sigh of relief. It was good that they were fine. As for Ying Lu, due to the difference in their cultivation levels, their spiritual sense was unable to discover that he was a fifth tribulation transcender. On the contrary, Ying Lu immediately discovered their spiritual senses. Ying Lu was shocked because it had only been less than 3 minutes since he had communicated with Jiang Xi. Wasn't it supposed to take 5 days? Earth has an interstellar transmission array. No, that's a small teleportation array. It must be another planet in this part of the starry sky that has an interstellar teleportation array. Ying Lu also spread out his spiritual awareness. Not long ago, they were so shocked that they neglected to investigate the first moon in detail. This time, with his spiritual sense as a fifth tribulation transcender, he instantly discovered the ancient interstellar teleportation formation on the first moon 380,000 kilometers away. I was too careless. Ying Lu shook his head gently and didn't care too much. Even if Jiang Xi arrived early, it wouldn't affect the negotiation. Phew, 2 figures appeared in the mansion of the Great Xia Alliance in the Shantian Prefecture. The eyes of Zhang Wei, Jiang Sheng, and the others immediately lit up as they saw familiar figures. Ying Lu laughed and said, "Haha, Jiang Xi, the speed of your arrival is beyond my imagination." Jiang Xi first nodded at Zhang Wei, Jiang Sheng, and the others. Then, he said to Ying Lu, "Senior Ying Lu, please keep your promise. You, a fifth tribulation transcender, used ordinary people as hostages. Once news of this spreads, your reputation won't be good. Although he was very angry, he still had to endure the current situation. Therefore, he had to be respectful on the surface. Haha, Jiang Xie, you really misunderstood. I didn't have any other intentions when I invited your friends over. I just wanted to take this opportunity to let you come out and meet me so that we can become friends. Ying Lu's face was full of smiles, and he didn't care about Jiang Xi's attitude. Then, with a thought, he released Zhang Wei and the others from the prison. His goal of capturing people was to force Jiang Xi to come out and negotiate with him face to face. Now, his goal had been achieved then. These native humans with low cultivation levels were completely worthless. Jiang Xi sneered in his heart. Who do you think you are treating me as a fool? He directly used his spiritual sense to envelop Zhang Wei and the others, and then put them all into a space in the heavenly tower. Ying Lu didn't do anything and let Jiang Xi do all this. Only 3 people were left in the courtyard of the mansion: Jiang Xi, Lu Chuan, and Ying Lu. Ying Lu smiled and said, I didn't expect you to be so cautious, Jiang Xi. Senior, you went through so much trouble to lure me here. I don't think it's just to exchange pleasantries with me, right? Jiang Xi smiled, still acting on the surface. Actually, it's not a big deal. As I said just now, I mainly want to make friends. Ying Lu's smile was very warm and kind, making people have a good impression of him. Then, he said, there's another small matter. I was traveling in the Milky Way some time ago and realized that I liked this galaxy very much, so I wanted to buy it. I found out in the Tao Alliance's heavenly court that you happen to be the overlord of the Milky Way galaxy. That's why I had no choice but to lure you here to talk to me. Jiang Xi's smile didn't change, but his heart sank. By the Milky Way galaxy? As expected. This excuse was almost exactly the same as what True Lord Myriad Poison had said just now. The price of a habitable galaxy is generally around 10,000 points. Considering that my behavior just now was a little reckless, it's not worth it. I'm willing to use 1 million points to buy the Milky Way galaxy as compensation. What do you think? Ying Lu had an apologetic expression on his face. Oh. 1 million points. Jiang Xi pretended to be surprised and dragged out his voice. However, he sneered in his heart. Did this old dog really think he was a bumpkin? 1 point was equal to 100 supreme-grade spirit crystals. 1 million points was equal to 100 million supreme-grade spirit crystals. Among the Purple Heaven Sect's Hell-level missions, the mission with the highest mortality rate, the reward was also this amount. In comparison, this was indeed a considerable amount of wealth. However, when True Lord Myriad Poison, who was known as the top poison expert of the human race, proposed to buy the Milky Way galaxy, he asked him to name the price himself. Jiang Xi believed that if he had asked for 1 billion or even 10 billion points, True Lord Myriad Poison would have easily agreed. Is he trying to dismiss a beggar? Even an ancient existence like True Lord Myriad Poison could only get a grotto heaven world from me. This old dog wants to buy the Milky Way galaxy with 1 million points. Does he really think I'm a bumpkin who hasn't seen the world? Doesn't he know the real situation of the earth? Jiang Xi cursed in his heart, but he still wore a smile on his face. Ha, I can make friends with you, Jiang Xi, and buy the galaxy with life that I like. 1 million points is definitely not high at all. Ying Lu thought Jiang Xi was really shocked by the price. Senior Ying Lu, you're right. You can't buy what you like with money. When you meet something you like, you're willing to pay any price, Jiang Xi echoed with a smile. Then he changed the topic and said, of course I can sell the Milky Way galaxy, but the premise is that I have to keep the sovereignty of the earth. Ying Lu's smile obviously froze. Changed later. Chapter 498. Ying Lu didn't expect Jiang Xi's request, and he was caught off guard. Jiang Xi, to tell you the truth, among all the planets in the Milky Way, Earth is the one I like the most. If you feel that the price just now is not suitable, we can discuss it again. You can even add 100 or 200,000 points, Ing Lu said again. Senior Ing Lu, since you can find Earth, you should know that this is my hometown. I'm not the kind of person who is so poor that he would sell his home. Jiang Xi's face flashed with a trace of ridicule. You're really not selling? Ing Lu frowned. He wasn't stupid. He knew that Jiang Xi was teasing him. I'm not selling. Jiang Xi's attitude was very firm. Sigh. Ing Lu sighed. He held the communication bead in his hand and sent a message to Qiao Tuesday. This was because his negotiation strategy had failed. Who? 8 figures emanating immortal auras instantly appeared in the courtyard. Qiao Tu. Jiang Xi's expression changed drastically. The people who came were Qiao Tu and the other 7 immortal Dao experts. They didn't restrain their auras. Among the 8 immortals, even the weakest one was about the same as Lu Chuan. He was at least a 3rd tribulation transcender. Therefore, in this situation, even Lu Chuan, who was a 3rd tribulation transcender, felt the pressure. There was no need to talk about Jiang Xi. At this moment, under the pressure of the immortal Dao, Jiang Xi found it difficult to breathe. His body trembled slightly, and his spiritual sense was on the verge of collapse. However, the essence soul in Jiang Xi's mind once again displayed its might. The lotus platform trembled slightly, dispersing the immortal Dao pressure. This situation surprised Qiao Tuesday. Even the 3rd tribulation transcender beside Jiang Xi couldn't escape their pressure, but Jiang Xi quickly escaped. It was already shocking that he could force a 3rd tribulation ghost immortal to self-destruct in the land of reincarnation. Now, it seemed that Jiang Xi still had many tricks up his sleeve. Jiang Xi. Qiao Tu gave off a high and mighty attitude, as if he was looking down on the world. Greetings, Senior Qiao Tuesday. Jiang Xi bowed politely. After all, Qiao Tu was a 7th tribulation transcender. Lu Chuan's face was still somewhat pale. He sent a spiritual sense voice transmission to Jiang Xi. My lord, these 9 people are very strong. Only a perfected lord can restrain them. Riverward's heart sank. True monarch. Before he rushed back to Earth, he had already sent a message to his master, the Wine Sword Immortal, asking for help. However, his master was only a 9 tribulation sword immortal. Even if his battle prowess was stronger than that of an ordinary 9 tribulation transcender, he still hadn't reached the level of a true monarch. Jiang Xi, you should know why I'm here, right? Tell me, are you selling Earth or not? Qiao Sha was very overbearing. Not for sale. Jiang Xi shook his head. Oh? Are you not satisfied with the price? No, 100 million points. Are you selling it? Qiao Tu asked in a low voice. The price shocked everyone except Jiang Xi. Just now, Ing Lu had been stingy and only offered 1 million points, but Qiao Tu had directly raised it to 100 million points. Even Lu Chuan was tempted, and he couldn't help but look at Jiang Xi a few more times. If he had the money, he could at least transcend 3 more tribulations. However, Jiang Xi still shook his head with a resolute expression. Sorry, I'm really not selling it. Qiao Tu smiled. Why? Is it because of what happened in the land of reincarnation? Do you still have a grudge against me? I wouldn't dare. Jiang Xi was expressionless. Haha, if you wouldn't dare, then you do. Qiao Tu laughed. Then, he said, that's fine. I've cultivated for more than 70,000 years. Other than in front of my father, I rarely give in. This time, I'll make an exception. 1 billion points. Many 7th tribulation transcenders only have this much wealth. With your talent, if you have this wealth, your chances of transcending the tribulation in the future will be almost 100%. I'm not selling. Jiang Xi was very calm. You're not giving me face. Qiao Tu's expression turned cold, and his powerful aura erupted again. Boom! The mansion of the Great Xia Alliance's upper echelon was instantly reduced to dust. Lu Chuan's reaction was also very fast. She used her immortal power to protect the area, preventing Qiao Tu's attack from threatening the other areas of Shuntian Prefecture. Jiang Xi, you're just a puny essence soul cultivator. How dare you challenge my will again and again? You should know the consequences of disobeying an immortal. Qiao Tu said coldly with a trace of madness in his eyes. Jiang Xi's expression changed. Whoosh! Suddenly, Qiao Tu erupted with powerful immortal power, imprisoning Jiang Xi and Lu Chuan. At the same time, his spiritual sense covered the entire earth. Keep! In just an instant, all the humans on Earth disappeared without a trace. They were all kept in Qiao Tu's storage space. He didn't dare to keep Earth because it was a planet that his father and many perfected cultivators valued. Now, we're the only ones left on this planet. Qiao Tu sneered and released Jiang Xi and Lu Chuan. Jiang Xi's expression changed greatly. He spread out his spiritual sense and explored the entire planet. Sure enough, the humans on Earth with a total population of more than 10 billion had all disappeared. Only ordinary beasts were left. Qiao Tu snorted coldly. It's not up to you whether to sell or not. A wise man submits to circumstances. It's up to you. If you sell Earth to me honestly, you can get 1 billion points, and those humans will be safe and sound. Otherwise, you'll get more than 10 billion human corpses. Qiao Tu seemed to have victory in his hands. Jiang Xi clenched his fists, full of anger. Strength. He once again experienced the difference in absolute strength. The weak were prey to the strong. The weak had no right to speak. He doesn't dare to kill me because I'm a core disciple of the Purple Heaven sect, a top genius of the human race. But I'm just a genius. In front of a real powerhouse, I'm not worth mentioning. In the end, it's still up to strength to speak. At this moment, Jiang Xi's temperament and thinking suddenly changed. He felt that although he had gone on many adventures in the past 200 years, he was still too steady. In order to not let those powerhouses find out that he had a secret, he deliberately controlled the speed of his strength improvement. As a result, the experience panel was not fully utilized. If that's the case, I'll stop hiding. The top geniuses of the human race were those who could go through 9 tribulations after completing the mythical soul integration stage. There might not even be one in an era. He was still far from that level. Have you thought it through? Are you selling or not? Qiao Tu asked coldly again. After the change in temperament, Jiang Xi's perspective changed too. He suddenly calmed down and his thinking became clearer. He smiled calmly. To be honest, it's not that I don't want to sell, but I don't dare to sell. Oh? Qiao Tu thought Jiang Xi was wavering. Senior Qiao Tu, actually, before you contacted me, the myriad poison lord of your Taoism also contacted me and wanted to buy Earth. Senior, you know how terrifying the myriad poison lord is. In the end, I had to sell Earth to him. Jiang Xi shrugged, looking helpless. The myriad poison lord. Qiao Tu's expression changed. The other 8 immortals behind him also looked serious. This was an ancient existence that was even more terrifying than his father, the treasure lord. First post, then change, then write the next chapter. Chapter 499. Since Earth has already been sold to Myriad Poison True Lord, I can't sell it to you even if I want to. Don't you think so? Jiang Xi smiled helplessly. Qiao Tu's face was gloomy and he did not say a word. He held his communication bead and seemed to be communicating with someone. Soon, he said coldly, "You're lying. I've asked the people in the Tao Alliance's heavenly court. You're still the overlord of Earth. If you've already transferred your sovereignty, then the overlord of Earth registered by the Tao Alliance's heavenly court should be Myriad Poison True Lord. This was a deal that was just made 10 minutes ago. Myriad Poison True Lord is currently on his way to Earth. Only then can we transfer it face to face. If you don't believe me, you can ask Myriad Poison True Lord." Jiang Xi smiled. Qiao Tu's eyelids twitched. Ask Myriad Poison, true lord. Only if you're tired of living. He already believed 60% of Jiang Xi's words. Myriad Poison, true lord's status in the Dao sect was too high. This ancient existence had lived longer than some of the Dao lords of the human race. It was not surprising that such an expert would know about Earth. Senior, you still don't believe me. Why don't I contact Myriad Poison, true lord? Jiang Xi took out his communication bead. There's no need for that. Qiao Tu looked unhappy. He did not want to offend Myriad Poison, true lord, for no reason. The #1 poison expert of the human race was not to be trifled with. He could easily wipe out an entire stellar system. Myriad Poison, true lord's notoriety was even greater than that of many Dao lords. Qiao Tu calculated in his heart. Earth's sovereignty is still in Jiang Xi's hands. If I can get it, I'll have to lie when Myriad Poison, true lord, asks. I can also say that Jiang Xi sold it to me on his own accord. Although true Lord Myriad Poisons was powerful, he had always been a loner for countless years. He's not like my father, who has a lot of say in the Dao sect and the Dao Alliance's heavenly court. Even if Myriad Poison, true lord, wants to get angry, he'll have to think twice. He was carefully weighing the consequences of doing so. Jiang Xi and Lu Chuan looked at each other and heaved a sigh of relief. The situation seemed to have eased a little at this time. Qiao Sha looked at Jiang Xi again and said, Jiang Xi, master of Myriad Poisons, is really powerful and I dare not offend him. But you are not master of Myriad Poisons. Senior, even you don't dare to offend the Myriad Poisons' true monarch. Of course, I wouldn't dare either. Jiang Xi shook his head. Do you think I won't kill you? Qiao Tu suddenly used his spiritual sense to transmit his voice. Jiang Xi's face darkened. Earth has the mark of the eye of heaven. If you kill me, the Purple Heaven sect will not let you go. The strange conversation made Lu Chuan wary. He used more immortal power to protect Jiang Xi. Qiao Tu didn't mind and continued to transmit his voice to Jiang Xi. The female immortal in colorful clothes behind me is called Rose. She is a fourth tribulation transcender and is also a slave controlled by me using a secret spiritual sense technique. This is a secret that even my father doesn't know. I can get her to kill you. I'm using my spiritual sense to transmit my voice. So what if she has the eye of heaven? No one knows that Rose is my slave. At that time, when you die, Earth will become a planet without a master. At most, I will lose a fourth tribulation transcender slave. Then, I can apply to the heavenly court of the Dao Alliance to become the new overlord of Earth. As for Master of Myriad Poisons, he is very powerful, but my father is also a true lord. If I offend him, I will at most be punished. My life won't be in danger. Jiang Xi, what do you think? Riverward was silent. He held the communication bead in his hand, and with a thought, he quickly wrote a message. The content was as follows: Lord, true lord, I'm Jiang Xi. Today, for some reason, true Lord Myriad Poisons of the Dao sect contacted me and said that he wanted to buy my hometown, Earth. I'm not the kind of person who is greedy for money and would betray my hometown. Therefore, I flatly refused this deal. Fortunately, true Lord Myriad Poisons didn't get angry and only asked for a heavenly abode on Earth. But I didn't expect that Qiao Tu, a seventh tribulation transcender of the Dao sect, would come to Earth with a group of powerhouses. Qiao Tu put all my people into his storage space and used them as a threat to buy Earth. Moreover, he threatened that if I didn't give it to him, his tribulation transcender slave would kill me and then gain sovereignty over Earth. Now, I only have a third tribulation transcender by my side. In the face of such a threat, I have no power to resist. I ask Lord True Lord to make the decision. He edited the content in an instant and then sent it to True Monarch Iron Mountain, repeating it 100 times in a row. When he participated in the 9 Regions Genius competition, it was hosted by True Lord Iron Mountain. According to the rules, if he became an immortal in the future, he would become a subordinate of True Lord Iron Mountain. Of course, it was the same now. If he was in trouble, looking for true Lord Iron Mountain was definitely the right choice. As for the other true lord he knew, true Lord Six Virtuous, the two had only met once. It would be too abrupt to look for true Lord Six Virtuous for such a matter. Moreover, he didn't know about true Lord Six Virtuous communication mark. After the message was sent, Jiang Xi knew that a storm was coming. At present, true Lord Myriad Poisons and Xiao Tu were both from the Dao sect, which meant that only the Dao sect knew about Earth. The Purple Heaven sect didn't know, or else they would have already sent him a message. If he took the initiative to send a message to true Lord Iron Mountain, the Purple Heaven sect would definitely find some clues and learn about Earth's secrets. As long as the higher-ups of the Purple Heaven sect weren't stupid, they would definitely come to fight for Earth. At that time, the confrontation would be between the Dao sect and the Purple Heaven sect. However, he still had to wait and stall for time. After all, true Lord Iron Mountain hadn't replied yet, and everything was unknown. Jiang Xi sighed and said helplessly, "Senior Xiao Tu, if I transfer the sovereignty of Earth to you, can you save my life?" That's true Lord Myriad Poisons, a powerful existence who can kill a life galaxy with a wave of his hand. If he wants to kill me, can you save my life? A smile reappeared on Xiao Tu's face. He could tell that Jiang Xi had given in. The threat just now was effective. You won't believe me if I say that I can save your life. Xiao Tu smiled and said, but I can tell you for sure that after you transfer the sovereignty of Earth to the Fourth Heaven sect, you can go back to the Fourth Heaven sect. You can return to the Fourth Heaven of the Purple Heaven sect or go to the ancient Dao origin world. As long as you're in either of these places, true Monarch Myriad Poison won't dare to touch you. Senior, you're right. Jiang Xi nodded and then shook his head. I can't stay in these two places forever. I'll have to come out sooner or later, and I'll still have to face true Lord Myriad Poisons. Humph. That's the only way to save your life. Otherwise, you'll die with everyone on Earth. I can still get the sovereignty of Earth. Xiao Tu's face turned cold again, and he said this sentence through his spiritual sense. With his temperament, it was difficult for him to have the patience to entangle with Jiang Xi for a long time. Jiang Xi's mind turned quickly, and he made up his mind to continue stalling for time. He was thinking of other excuses. But at this time, Xiao Tu's face changed greatly. Ninth Tribulation Transcender. Just a moment ago, he had sensed a powerful spiritual consciousness sweep past him. He had the God-Fiend skull, so he could sense the spiritual sense of a Ninth Tribulation Transcender. Chapter 500. A powerful spiritual sense swept across the earth. Xiao Tu was able to detect that it was the spiritual sense of a Ninth Tribulation Transcender with the help of the God-Fiend skull. Is it a Tribulation Transcender under the other perfected lords? Impossible, they are only at the Milky Way galaxy. It will take them at least half a day to reach Earth. Xiao Tu frowned. Maybe a Ninth Tribulation Transcender happened to be near the Milky Way galaxy and came here faster. Rose said. Xiao Tu nodded. It was possible. He was the first to reach Earth because he was in the Milky Way galaxy and had been to the asteroid belt before. However, he was not afraid even if a Ninth Tribulation Transcender came. As long as it was not a perfected lord, the 9 of them could deal with it. Whoosh, a figure appeared out of thin air. The person was slovenly and his clothes were open. His unrestrained appearance revealed a sense of vicissitudes. The wine gourd in his left hand was a good indication of his identity. Master. Jiang Xi was pleasantly surprised. The speed of his master's arrival was beyond his imagination. Zhongli. Wine Sword Immortal. The faces of Xiao Tu and his 8 immortal Dao experts changed dramatically. Wine Sword Immortal had not come out since he entered the ancient Dao source world 50,000 years ago. However, his name had been passed down among the immortal Dao cultivators. After all, this talented sword Dao genius had a remarkable record of severely injuring a perfected lord of the demon race. Why did this lunatic come out? Anger flashed in Xiao Tu's eyes as he recalled the memory of being beaten by Wine Sword Immortal in the Myriad Immortal Assembly. While Xiao Tu and the others were shocked, Wine Sword Immortal and Zhang Xi started talking. "Disciple, your earth is not simple," Wine Sword Immortal said with a deep gaze. When he was teleported to the first moon, he discovered the secret there. Now that he came to Earth, he found many familiar things here. For example, the Kunlun mystic realm, the Buddhist ruins, etc. These places were very similar to the 3 gates and 6 sects of the Tao Alliance. Previously, he was wondering why True Lord Myriad Poison and Xiao Tu of the Tao sect came to Jiang Ci one after another. Now, he understood that Earth was a planet with a big secret and Jiang Ci was the Lord of Earth. "This is my home." Jiang Ci smiled bitterly. These words contained a lot of emotions. Good. Since it was his home, he should protect it well. Since the guests are here, we should treat them well. Since the enemy is here, we should also properly entertain them. The Wine Sword Immortal laughed loudly and did not continue to ask. The two of them showed their attitude by treating them well. It was obvious who the enemy was. Qiao Cha and the 8 immortals under him gathered their aura and did not let their guard down for even a moment. "Zhongli, I didn't expect that you would actually leave the ancient Tao origin world," Qiao Tu said in a low voice. "The world is vast, where can't I go?" The Wine Sword Immortal smiles, then his voice turns cold. "Instead, why did you intrude into my disciple's hometown? Do you want to die? Arrogant. If the 9 of us join forces, we'll even be able to fight against a perfected lord. You're a 9 tribulation sword celestial who's nearing the end of your lifespan. You'd better know your place, or else you won't be able to live for the next few thousand years." Qiao Sha's expression turned ferocious. He was ready to strike. "Ha, it's because I'm at the end of my lifespan that I want to kill." The Wine Sword Immortal laughed maniacally. His aura suddenly rose, and his hair and beard stood on end. A sword Tao rhyme that was of a higher level than sword intent spread between heaven and earth, making him look like an emperor of swords. This lunatic. Qiao Cha and the 8 immortals under him became even more serious. They all took out their magic treasures and were ready to strike at any time. A great battle was about to break out. It was a massacre. It looked like immortals were going to fall today. This was the first time Jiang Ci saw his master display his strength. He was really strong. Under normal circumstances, only a perfected lord could suppress Qiao Cha and the others. But now, the Wine Sword Immortal was alone, and his aura was superior. The Wine Sword Immortal's aura was drawn but not released. After taking a sip of wine, he said, "It's not too late for you to retreat now. After 3 breaths, there will be no turning back. This is the planet my father set his eyes on. You want me to retreat? Humph. Zhongli, I admit that you are strong, but you can't kill me. Today, I want to see if your sword or my divine demon skull is more powerful." Qiao Cha gritted his teeth. His face had turned completely ferocious, and black lines appeared on his face. At this moment, the Wine Sword Immortal's spiritual consciousness wrapped around Jiang Ci, and wanted to keep Jiang Ci into his storage space. Boom! Suddenly, a blast of air exploded out of nowhere, and the space around them became chaotic. "This space has been completely covered by my divine demon skull, and you still want to keep Jiang Ci? Huh." Qiao Cha laughed proudly. Indeed, even Jiang Ci felt that the space around them had turned into a swamp, and their bodies were restricted. The Wine Sword Immortal's face darkened. He did not release his aura earlier, and did not attack immediately because he was worried that the battle would affect Jiang Ci. Only when Jiang Ci was safe would he be able to fight with peace of mind. Obviously, Qiao Cha was also aware of this, so he was prepared. Buzz, the Wine Sword Immortal attacked again, and a majestic immortal power erupted, breaking through the divine demon skull's confinement of space. Then, he swept Jiang Ci and Lu Chuan out of the sky. With his speed, he arrived in space outside Earth in an instant. Damn it! Qiao Cha cursed angrily and chased after him with the other 8 immortals. At the same time, a strange aura surged out of his hairless head again. The black lines on his face seemed to come alive, and they swam rapidly. A divine demon face appeared in the starry sky within 100,000 kilometers. The complicated black lines were like a spider web, confining the entire starry sky. Everything in this starry sky was restricted, and their speed suddenly slowed down. In the starry sky 50,000 kilometers away from Earth, the Wine Sword Immortal was also affected, and had no choice but to stop. He said to Lu Chuan, "Protect Jiang Xi well." "Yes." Lu Chuan nodded vigorously. "Master, be careful." Jiang Xi was a little worried. This was because Qiao Cha's methods were indeed terrifying. That divine demon face was obviously Qiao Cha's. "Ha, disciple, don't worry. If he had refined 100% of the divine demon skull, I would still be a little afraid. Now, watch me kill this evil guest." The Wine Sword Immortal laughed loudly. His figure flashed, and he left with his sword. After not having to divert his attention to take care of Jiang Xi, the divine demon face's confinement of space was useless in front of him. On the other side, Qiao Cha and his subordinates had already caught up. "Rose, the 3 of you go and capture Jiang Xi." Qiao Cha said to the female immortal in rainbow-colored clothes and his 3 subordinates. The female immortal in rainbow-colored clothes was a 4th Tribulation Transcender, and the other 2 were 3rd Tribulation Transcenders. Their strength completely suppressed Lu Chuan. As for the remaining 6 people, other than Qiao Cha, who was a 7th Tribulation Transcender, there were 2 6th Tribulation Transcenders and 3 5th Tribulation Transcenders. If they joined forces, they would be able to deal with the Wine Sword Immortal. "Today, we will kill the Wine Sword Immortal and wash away our previous humiliation." Qiao Cha's spiritual sense had already locked onto the Wine Sword Immortal. Roar! The divine demon face that covered 100,000 kilometers let out a loud roar that shook the heavens and the earth. It instantly attacked the Wine Sword Immortal. The other 5 immortals also unleashed powerful attacks. Powerful spiritual sense and immortal power attacks wreaked havoc in the starry sky, causing space to collapse. Some meteorites or asteroids were directly shattered as long as they were affected. Boom! 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 All the attacks were focused on the Wine Sword Immortal. "Huh!" The Wine Sword Immortal laughed wildly. He slashed out with his sword, and a cold light split the dark starry sky like a river of stars. Whoosh! It directly shattered the divine demon roar and blocked all the immortal attacks. He was fighting 6 immortals above the 5th Tribulation without being at a disadvantage. At the same time, the 4th Tribulation Transcender rose and the other 2 3rd Tribulation Transcenders had already caught up to Jiang Xi and Lu Chuan. Powerful immortal power accompanied by a supreme-grade immortal artifact condensed into a powerful Daoist attack that instantly enveloped the 2 of them. Inferno Prison. Lu Chuan roared as a fire-type Daoist technique erupted. In the next moment, the starry sky turned into a sea of flames. Not only did it block the other party's immortal Dao attack, it also temporarily trapped Rose and the other 2. However, after using this ultimate move, Lu Chuan's aura dropped to the lowest. Jiang Xi could even sense that Lu Chuan's spiritual sense was showing signs of collapsing. This was a move that he had risked his life to use. Lu Chuan. Jiang Xi's expression changed as he hurriedly fed Lu Chuan his healing spirit pill. Only then did Lu Chuan's injuries stabilize. In the Inferno prison, Rose and the other 2 immortals released their immortal power to protect their bodies. "Risking your life? How loyal!" Rose sneered. Then, she struck out with her palm, only to discover that her attack was quickly burned by the Inferno prison. "Break it together." Rose's expression became serious. She knew that this battle had to be ended quickly. If it was delayed, something unexpected would happen. The 3 of them attacked at the same time. Boom! 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 Lu Chuan was a 3rd Tribulation Transcender after all. Even if he risked his life to use his ultimate move, it would be difficult for him to withstand the combined attacks of Rose and the other two. Soon, the Inferno prison, which was like a sea of flames, was on the verge of collapse. At the same time, Jiang Xi naturally wouldn't sit still and wait for death. His attack was also launched. Although his cultivation level was only at the early stage of the Essence Soul realm, his realm had long surpassed that of most Tribulation Transcenders. He slashed out with his sword, and a soaring sword intent immediately spread out. A huge sword Dao green lotus bloomed in the starry sky. It was like a world of swords. Then, it merged with Lu Chuan's Inferno prison. Last time in the land of reincarnation, he had been attacked by a third Tribulation Ghost Immortal from the Ghost Race's Silver Yiksha clan. Even if that third Tribulation Ghost Immortal relied on his bloodline power and had strength comparable to a fourth Tribulation Transcender, he could still hold on for 30 seconds. Now, he was using the sword Dao Green Lotus to trap people. Even if the enemy was a fourth Tribulation Transcender and two third Tribulation Transcenders, he believed that he could trap them for at least 10 seconds. In a battle between experts, the outcome was often decided in an instant. If he could buy 10 more seconds, he could do a lot of things. Lu Chuan's aura was weak as he held on in the starry sky. He was a person who knew how to repay kindness. Jiang Xi continuously brandished his sword light, condensing sword Dao Green Lotuses one after another, wanting to last longer. At this moment, his communication pearl finally received a message from True Monarch Iron Mountain. He's finally here. He didn't have time to rejoice and hurriedly accepted the message. However, he didn't have the strength to materialize the situation on his side. He only used a wisp of his spiritual sense to turn into a transmission phantom through the communication pearl and appeared in the cave abode of Purple Heaven Sect's 6th firmament, True Monarch Iron Mountain. Chapter 501. This was a black mountain located in the starry sky. True Monarch Iron Mountain's palace sat on the peak of the mountain. From the throne of the palace, one could see the Milky Way changing. Wearing a crimson armor, True Lord Iron Mountain sat on the throne. His aura seemed to be in harmony with the starry sky, as if he was the ruler of the starry sky. In the main hall, Jiang Xi's phantom image appeared and bowed. Jiang Xi greets True Monarch Iron Mountain. I know what's going on Earth, but it'll take my men a while to get there, Perfected Cultivator Iron Mountain's voice boomed. Perfected Cultivator, you can use this teleportation mark to reach the universe where Earth is located. Jiang Xi quickly told him about the interstellar teleport array on the first moon. Then, with a sincere expression, he said, my master, the Wine Sword Immortal, is trying his best to fend off the enemy. I hope that True Monarch can make a move as soon as possible. All right. True Monarch Iron Mountain nodded. The transmission ended. Soon, immortals with immortal Dao auras teleported to True Lord Iron Mountain's palace. Below the main hall, many immortals had gathered. There were over 1,000 immortals, and even the weakest among them was a fourth Tribulation Transcender. True Lord Iron Mountain sat high on the throne and said in a deep voice, the people of Dao want to steal the opportunity of the disciples of Purple Heaven Sect. Go to Jiang Xi's hometown, Earth, and expel the people of Dao. Remember, Jiang Xi cannot die. Yes. All the immortals were shocked. Even if Jiang Xi was a core disciple of the fourth celestial layer, Iron Mountain True Monarch wouldn't pay so much attention to him. These 1,000 immortals were almost all of True Lord Iron Mountain's forces. There were 2 9th Tribulation Transcenders, over 100 7th Tribulation Transcenders, and over 100 8th Stage Immortals. Even the weakest among them was a 4th Tribulation Transcender. Now, they had mobilized so many experts just for a single Primordial Soul Stage Jiang Xi. This was truly shocking. The mighty army of immortals teleported away from the 6th heaven of the Purple Heaven and arrived at the teleportation platform in the sky of the Purple Heaven Sect. They were going to teleport to the first moon of Earth in batches. Such a huge commotion naturally attracted the attention of the immortals and core disciples of the Purple Heaven Sect. While they were shocked, they were also guessing what had happened. In the starry sky outside Earth, the battle was still ongoing. Since Jiang Xi had added the Green Lotus Sword Dao at the sword intent level into the Inferno prison, Rose and the other two couldn't break through the shackles of the two Dao attacks in a short time. On the other side, the Wine Sword Immortal was fighting 6 immortals alone and had the upper hand. Moreover, his attack style was very simple. It was just one sword strike after another. Every sword strike was like a galaxy that broke through the dark starry sky. The overwhelming sword light suppressed Xiao Tu and the others. Damn it! How can he be so strong? Qiao Sha roared with a ferocious look on his face. My lord, if the stalemate continues, the other experts of the Purple Heavens sect will arrive. Ying Lu and the other 4 immortals are even more anxious. Their attacks are basically unable to cause any harm to the Wine Sword Immortal. What worried them even more was that since the Wine Sword Immortal could come to Earth through the interstellar teleportation array, the other masters of the Purple Heavens sect would definitely be able to come quickly in this way. The problem is, they are currently being suppressed by the Wine Sword Immortal. As for Rose and the others, they would not be able to take down Jiang Xi in a short period of time. If this dragged on, it would be troublesome. Huh, are you anxious? The Wine Sword Immortal laughed, holding a sword in one hand and drinking wine in the other. He slashed out again, and this time, the attack was aimed at the other 5 immortals. Crash, the galaxy shattered. The complexions of the 5 immortals changed greatly. They could no longer be anxious and fled in all directions, not daring to block the attack. Because if they can't block it, they will die. Zhongli, how dare you? Xiao Tu shouted angrily. This time, he was really anxious. These were all the strength of his subordinates. Losing even one of them would make his heart ache. However, the Wine Sword Immortal would not listen to him. Sword fall. The 2 6th Tribulation Transcenders and 3 5th Tribulation Transcenders did not have time to escape from the area covered by the sword light. Under the sword light that was like a galaxy, their bodies and primordial spirits melted like ice and snow, instantly disappearing into the starry sky. They died so strong. Jiang Xi's eyes widened. It seemed that this was just a casual sword strike of his master, and he had not used his full strength. Zhongli. Xiao Tu was about to go crazy. This sword strike had caused him to suffer heavy losses. The 5 immortals that died were almost his strongest subordinates. Under his anger, the strange aura emitted from the top of his head became even stronger, and more black patterns appeared on his face. It was as if his whole person was about to be demonized. In the starry sky, the Fiend God face roared. Fiend God roar. The power of space imprisonment suddenly increased by thousands of times. The whole starry sky constantly fluctuated and began to collapse. Not good. The Wine Sword Immortal's complexion changed. Because under this kind of imprisonment, Jiang Xi would definitely not be able to escape this world-destroying Fiend God roar. The situation was as he expected. 30,000 kilometers away, the Inferno prison and the Green Lotus dissipated along with the collapse of space. The 4th Tribulation Transcenders rose and the other 2/3 Tribulation Transcenders escaped. They were not affected by the Fiend God roar and immediately attacked Jiang Xi. The 2 sides were less than 500 kilometers apart. For Immortal Dao powerhouses, this distance was no different from being very close. The Wine Sword Immortal was 30,000 kilometers away and would definitely not be able to rush over in time. Jiang Xi's situation was very dangerous. At this time, another powerful aura spread in the starry sky, and the number of auras was continuously increasing. It was the first moon that was tens of thousands of kilometers away. Batch after batch of Immortal Dao powerhouses were teleporting over. Boom, boom, boom. Immediately afterward, these Immortal Dao powerhouses crossed the starry sky and arrived at the place where the 2 sides were fighting. True Monarch Iron Mountain's army of immortals had arrived. More than 1,000 immortals emitted a mighty aura, and the ones in the lead were Immortal Yi Liang and Immortal Chu He. Ha, Zhongli, you finally decided to come out. A hearty laugh echoed in the starry sky. Immortal Yi Liang, who was wearing a green robe and had disheveled hair, casually condensed an open scroll and suppressed the collapsing starry sky. At the same time, he also imprisoned Rose and the other two, resolving the crisis Jiang Xi was in. Immortal Yi Liang saved Jiang Xi, while immortal Chu He crossed the starry sky and arrived at the place where the Wine Sword Immortal and Xiao Sha were fighting. He was wearing black armor and emitted an iron-blooded aura. He first nodded slightly at the Wine Sword Immortal, then looked at Xiao Sha with a dignified expression. At this time, Xiao Sha's aura was a little weak because he had just used the Fiend God Roar, and he no longer had the strength to fight. Xiao Sha, you trespassed on the private territory of a fourth firmament core disciple of the Purple Heavens sect and even tried to kill him. You have violated the laws of the Heavenly Court and committed a heinous crime. Chu He shouted coldly. He. Xiao Sha laughed disdainfully. Men, capture him. Chu He waved his hand at the immortal army behind him. Immediately, 10 Eighth Tribulation Transcenders flew out to capture Xiao Sha. Xiao Sha's expression changed immediately. He didn't expect immortal Chu He to directly give the order to capture him. The Daoist sect was detached from worldly affairs, but the Purple Heavens sect was the actual ruler of the Dao Alliance. In other words, the Purple Heavens sect was not inferior to the Daoist sect. If he was captured by the Purple Heavens sect, the Daoist sect would definitely have to pay a price to redeem him. This was only secondary. The most important thing was that he couldn't afford to lose face. You want to capture me? Scram! Xiao Sha roared. His whole face was covered by black patterns, and the strange aura rushing out from the top of his head was extremely dense. As a result, his originally balding hairstyle directly turned bald. His bald head was covered by black patterns. In the starry sky, the face of the Fiend God also turned pitch black, as if it was full of fangs. It looked ferocious and terrifying. Roar! The starry sky within a radius of 100,000 kilometers quickly froze, like the water of a lake. This time, he was going to use the full power of the Fiend God Roar at the risk of being seriously injured and even damaging his foundation. Boom! Suddenly, the space exploded, and the face of the Fiend God disappeared. Xiao Sha's Fiend God Roar was not fully used before it also stopped. A figure wearing armor with golden patterns slowly appeared in the starry sky. A powerful immortal aura that far surpassed that of a ninth tribulation transcender spread out and faintly merged with the starry sky, as if it was the ruler of the starry sky. Whether it was the Wine Sword Immortal, Yi Liang, or Chu He, they all felt an extremely strong pressure and could only try their best to remain standing. As for the remaining 1,000 or so immortals, they directly knelt in the starry sky. A perfected cultivator had arrived. Father! Xiao Sha was immediately overjoyed. The person who had arrived was Daoist sect's true monarch Baoyan. Greetings, true monarch Baoyan. The Wine Sword Immortal, Yi Liang, and Chu He respectfully saluted at the same time. The 1,000 or so immortals kneeling in the starry sky also shouted in unison. Jiang Xi also saluted respectfully. Strangely, he did not feel that powerful aura, so he was still standing. However, even so, Jiang Xi was still very worried. The appearance of true monarch Baoyan had changed the situation again. This powerhouse from the Daoist sect was once a prodigy of the new era. After reaching the peak of the Dao integration stage, he was able to transcend 9 tribulations in a row. After hundreds of millions of years, true monarch Baoyan's strength had become even more unfathomable. Among the true monarchs, true monarch Baoyan was a powerful existence second only to true monarch Myriad Poison and true monarch 6 Virtuous. True monarch Iron Mountain's 1,000 or so immortals army could not stop true monarch Baoyan at all. Even if true monarch Iron Mountain rushed to Earth now, it would be too late. Interstellar teleportation between star fields also took time. This time was enough for true monarch Baoyan to do a lot of things. It would only take a few words to take away the sovereignty of Earth. What should he do? While Jiang Xi was worrying about this, Xiao Tu shouted, "Father, these immortals of the Purple Heavens sect are too overbearing. They want to take me down together. The guilty party complained first. The Wine Sword Immortal, Liang, and Chu He all frowned. Humph! True monarch Baoyan snorted coldly. His voice was like thunder, echoing in the starry sky. Everyone felt true monarch Baoyan's anger in this cold snort, and they all trembled in fear. When a true monarch was angry, people would die. However, surprisingly, true monarch Baoyan's anger was not directed at the Wine Sword Immortal, Liang, or Chu He. There seemed to be a galaxy flowing in his eyes as he stared at Xiao Tu and said slowly, "I am very disappointed." Xiao Tu was stunned. This was the first time he heard this from his father. Very disappointed? Was it because he did not take down Earth? Or was it because of something else? For a moment, Xiao Tu became a little nervous and did not know what to do. First, then change. Chapter 502. The remnant aura of the battle lingered in the starry sky. The perfected Lord's aura intimidated everything. The thousands of immortals did not dare to make a move. Apart from perfected Lord Baoyan, only Jiang Xi, Wine Sword Immortal, Liang, Chu He, and Qiao Cha were left standing. True Lord Baoyan looked at his son, Xiao Tu, with anger in his eyes. He was angry that Xiao Tu did not fight back. He scolded, "The God-fiend's skull has been in your possession for 70,000 years. You still can't fully unleash its power. This time, you're risking damaging your foundation to unleash your ultimate move. You're really wasting the treasure." This made many people suspicious. Why did it feel like the God-fiend's skull was more important than his son in perfected Lord Baoyan's eyes? "Father." Qiao Cha knelt down in fear, his body trembling. Perfected Lord Baoyan did not look at him again. His expression was indifferent, as if he was not looking at his son. Then, he turned his gaze to Wine Sword Immortal, Liang, and Chu He. "Are you the ones who gave the order to capture my son?" This time, his voice was emotionless. However, the feeling he gave was even more terrifying. A pressure that came from the soul caused the Wine Sword Immortal and the other two's expressions to change slightly. Perfected Lord, it was Qiao Cha who violated the heavenly court's laws first. Wine Sword Immortal said in a neither servile nor overbearing manner. He was stronger and was the first to resist the pressure. However, he was the first to speak, so he had to bear more of Perfected Lord Baoyan's anger. "Perfected Lord, we were ordered by Perfected Lord Iron Mountain to protect Jiang Xi. Qiao Cha wanted to harm Jiang Xi's life. Naturally, we could not sit by and do nothing." Liang also explained respectfully, sharing the pressure with Wine Sword Immortal. Chu He was a man of few words. He only nodded solemnly, expressing his attitude. "Humph." Perfected Lord Baoyan snorted, "Even if my son was wrong, it is not up to Purple Heaven's sect to punish him." The rumbling of thunder echoed in the starry sky, shaking the heavens and earth. Wine Sword Immortal, Liang, Chu He, and the army of thousands of immortals felt as if they were struck by lightning. Everyone's faces turned pale, and their auras became weaker. This time, Jiang Xi still did not feel any pressure. He was even more confused, but he could not ask. "This is your punishment," True Lord Baoyan said expressionlessly. "Yes." None of the immortals dared to refute. This was already the lightest punishment for offending a true monarch. Moreover, True Lord Baoyan was stronger than True Lord Iron Mountain. As True Lord Iron Mountain's subordinates, they did not dare to say anything and could only agree. After all, the strong were respected. Perfected Lord Baoyan, who was clad in golden-patterned armor, suddenly turned his gaze to Jiang Xi. What shocked the immortals was that True Lord Baoyan, who was so overbearing and intimidating just now, actually revealed a slight smile at this time. "Jiang Xi, right?" True Lord Baoyan asked with a smile. Jiang Xi froze for a moment, but he wasn't too shocked. This was because when True Lord of Myriad Poisons contacted him previously, he had also spoken to him in the same manner. Moreover, his attitude was even more amiable than True Lord of Baoyan's. "Jiang Xi greets True Monarch Baoyan." Jiang Xi bowed respectfully. He knew that true Lord Bao Yen would definitely talk about buying Earth next. As expected, true Lord Bao Yen said, "Actually, I asked Xiao Sha to come to Earth to discuss the purchase of Earth with you. I didn't expect him to misunderstand me and actually attack you directly." Jiang Xi was really surprised this time. From what he heard, true Lord Bao Yen seemed to be explaining to him. He did not expect a true monarch to say sorry or anything like that. A detailed explanation like true Lord Bao Yan's was equivalent to an apology. When Xiao Sha heard this, he was dumbfounded. "Father, before coming to Earth, the order he received was to do whatever it took." True Lord Bao Yen looked at him indifferently. Xiao Sha's body trembled and he quickly shut his mouth. This was the second time today that he saw his father looking at him with such a gaze. It was also the second time in his life. On the side, Wine Sword Immortal, Liang, Chu He, and the other immortals, of course, could tell that true Lord Bao Yen was explaining to Jiang Xi. They were even more surprised. Immortal Dao experts looked at the higher level. From their point of view, true Lord Bao Yan's reaction was very strange. No matter how talented Jiang Xi was, he was just a cultivator in the primordial soul stage who had yet to become an immortal. True Lord Bao Yen was not only a powerful expert in the 9 domains of the Dao Alliance, he was also a genius of the New Age. In terms of talent, he was even stronger than Jiang Xi. In other words, true Lord Bao Yen did not need to explain to Jiang Xi at all. Wine Sword Immortal and the others were confused. They did not understand what was going on. True Lord Bao Yen smiled again and said to Jiang Xi, "I'm here to talk to you personally. I wonder if you're willing to sell Earth to me. You can name your price. Whether it's points or treasures in the universe, as long as I can satisfy you, I'll give it to you." Jiang Xi had the experience of negotiating with true Lord of Myriad Poisons. In the face of this situation, he was very calm. "True Lord, Earth is my hometown. It's the place where the people of Earth live and reproduce. I can't sell it." True Lord Bao Yen nodded gently. "I've been rude. If that's the case, I won't force you." Jiang Xi was stunned. It was that simple. He thought that true Lord Bao Yen would fly into a rage after he rejected him. While he was stunned, true Lord Bao Yan's expression changed again. He regained his dignified look. "Xiao Tu." True Lord Bao Yen said in a deep voice. "Father." Xiao Tu was still in a state of confusion. He had called his father many times already. "I only ordered you to come to Earth for a discussion, but you caused such a big trouble. If Wine Sword Immortal Zhongli had not arrived in time, I'm afraid Jiang Xi would have been dead." True Lord Bao Yen said. Everyone could hear the anger in his voice. "Father, this is you." Xiao Tu's expression changed drastically. "Shut up." True Lord Bao Yen shouted angrily. Xiao Tu was stunned. It was as if a big pot had fallen from the sky. "You have treasures, but you don't know how to improve yourself. You cause trouble outside all day long. This time, you violated the laws of the Heavenly Court. Since that's the case, I'll punish you to stay in the Northern Deep Star for 30,000 years." True Lord Bao Yen said coldly. "Father." Xiao Tu was completely stunned. Then, he was terrified. Wine Sword Immortal and the others were even more shocked. They did not understand true Lord Bao Yan's actions at all. What kind of place was the Northern Deep Star Sea? It was a place where the Heavenly Court imprisoned important criminals. There were extremely vicious immortal experts of the human race, as well as great monsters and ghost immortals of other races. The environment was extremely bad. Staying in there for 30,000 years would definitely torture someone to death. The lifespan of a Dao integration realm cultivator was 10,000 years. After that, their lifespan would increase by 10,000 years with each heavenly tribulation. In summary, the lifespan of a 9th tribulation transcender was 100,000 years. Chao Tu was now a seventh tribulation transcender. He had reached the limit of every realm, and his lifespan was close to 80,000 years. Even if he could cultivate to a ninth tribulation transcender, his lifespan would be at most 20,000 years. Facing the wall for 30,000 years meant that if he did not cultivate from a ninth tribulation transcender to a perfected lord, it was equivalent to staying in the northern deep star until death. This was almost equivalent to giving Chao Tu a death sentence. Wine Sword Immortal and the others did not understand. Because even if Chao Tu killed Jiang Xi just now, it would be difficult for him to receive such a punishment. It felt like true Lord Bao Yen was expressing his attitude towards Jiang Xi. It was too strange. Jiang Xi was silent. You killed your son, it's none of my business. He even wanted true Lord Bao Yen to kill Chao Tu on the spot. At this time, true Lord Bao Yen said, "Release all the earthlings." Chao Tu's face was ashen, but he did not dare to disobey. He flew back to Earth and released all the earthlings that he had stored in his storage space. The tens of billions of earthlings who were in a mess felt like they had survived a disaster after seeing the familiar environment. They had experienced an unprecedented change today. Although they did not see the battle between the immortals, their experience in the storage space made them realize that the world was about to change. After doing all this, Chao Tu returned to true Lord Bao Yan's side. True Lord Bao Yen took one last look at Earth and the first moon and sighed in his heart. He wrapped Chao Tu and the remaining three immortals with his immortal power. There was a fluctuation in space, and the group disappeared into thin air. Dao Domain. In the endless sky of a starry sky continent, a huge palace was suspended. This was true Lord Bao Yan's residence. Inside the palace, true Lord Bao Yen and Chao Tu's figures suddenly appeared after returning. Chao Tu could not help but ask directly, "Father, why? Even if I made a mistake, I don't need to face the wall on the northern deep star for 30,000 years, right?" He did not care whether he would anger his father or not. If he did not ask now, he would really be imprisoned in the northern deep star sea. That would be the end of him. "Humph, do you think I want to?" True Lord Bao Yen said coldly. He punished his son in public, which was actually a slap to his own face in public. This matter would definitely spread out. When the time came, everyone would think that he had given in to Jiang Xi, a little fellow at the primordial spirit realm, that he was afraid. "Father, was it just for show?" Chao Tu asked in surprise. "It was not for show." True Lord Bao Yen shook his head. "My master asked me to punish you. He said that the pressure on you is too small. The God-fiend skull is a complete waste on you, so he asked me to imprison you in the northern deep star sea for 30,000 years to give you some pressure. At the same time, he said, you have indeed caused trouble this time, so this is a small punishment." "Father's master?" Chao Tu's breathing stagnated, and his face was full of disbelief. His heart was in turmoil, and other than shock, there was also fear and unease. His father, true Lord Bao Yen, was a genius who dominated an era in Dao's sect. There were not many in Dao's sect who were qualified to be his master. Moreover, the reason why true Lord Bao Yen had such great power in Dao's sect, and could even influence important decisions in Dao's sect, was related to his master. True Lord Bao Yan's master was the true upper echelon of Dao's sect, a powerful existence second only to the Dao sect's heavenly lords. He was the second most powerful person in Dao's sect. "Yes, my master, Dao Lord Yanqing." True Lord Bao Yen said solemnly. This. "Father, Dao Lord Yanqing is a transcendent being. Why would he notice me and personally order me to be punished?" Chao Tu was terrified. He was targeted by such an expert. Chapter 503. Chao Tu was no longer as domineering and arrogant as he was before. He was now like a frightened little bird, his body trembling slightly. Daoist Lord Yanqing had absolute authority in the Dao sect. Unless the supreme heavenly venerate of the human race spoke, no one could suppress Daoist Lord Yanqing. Daoist Lord Yanqing was ranked first even in the human race and the 10,000 races of the universe. There were very few who could surpass him in strength. Except for the human race, the monster race, and the ghost race, all the other races had to kneel in front of Daoist Lord Yanqing. "Father, what should I do?" Xiao Tu panicked and didn't know what to do. Daoist Lord Yanqing was punishing him now. If Daoist Lord Yanqing wanted him to die, there was no way he could live. His father even wanted to kill him personally, just like how he was punished to face the wall for 30,000 years. "Are you scared now?" True monarch Bao Yan had a look of disappointment on his face. However, this was his son after all. Moreover, the God Fiend's skull in Xiao Tu's body was the key to whether he could become a Dao Lord in the future. Xiao Tu was still of great use now, so he couldn't let anything happen to him. Thinking of this, true monarch Bao Yan sighed softly. "I don't know why Master punished you. You don't have to worry too much. With Master's status, he won't bother with a seventh tribulation transcender like you." Xiao Tu was slightly relieved. "According to my guess, the reason Master punished you this time should be related to that Jiang Xi," true monarch Bao Yan said. "Jiang Xi?" Xiao Tu was shocked. "He's just an essence soul cultivator. How could he be related to Daoist Lord Yanqing? It might be related to the secrets of Earth." True monarch Bao Yan's eyes were deep. When he arrived at the space where Earth was, he noticed the uniqueness of Earth and the first moon. Even the entire space was different from the outside world. Earth. Xiao Tu fell silent. Of course, he also noticed the uniqueness of Earth. Unfortunately, this opportunity had passed him by, and he had paid a terrible price for it. Master punished you to face the wall on planet Northern Deep for 30,000 years. It seems like a punishment, but it's actually a good thing for you. The environment of that place is very suitable for refining the God Fiend's skull. If you can completely refine it within 30,000 years, it's not impossible for you to become a true lord in the future, said true Lord Bao Yan. "I understand." Qiao Sha clenched his fists, he was still unwilling to give up. In the starry sky near Earth, the immortals did not leave. Their mighty auras still covered the starry sky. "Jiang Xi, we have been ordered by true Lord Iron Mountain to help you guard Earth for the time being. Where do you think we should be stationed?" Yi Liang asked. The scene that had just taken place caused Yi Liang, a ninth tribulation transcender, to change his attitude towards Jiang Xi. He did not directly request to be stationed on Earth. Instead, he first asked for Jiang Xi's opinion. After all, Jiang Xi was the true ruler of Earth, and Earth had been registered as a private territory, not a vital planet under the jurisdiction of the Heavenly Court. According to the laws of the Heavenly Court, private territories were sacred and inviolable. Even immortals had to abide by this law. Those who violate this rule will refer to Qiao Sha. Jiang Xi looked at his master, the Wine Sword Immortal, and the latter nodded slightly at him. Then, he said, "Senior Yi Liang, Earth has always been in a sealed state. If the army of immortals were to be stationed here, I'm afraid that they would offend you. You should temporarily be stationed on the planet that you teleported from just now." He was referring to the first moon. The storm caused by Earth had yet to subside, and there might be other true monarchs coming soon. The army of immortals staying here would be enough to ensure the safety of Earth. All right. Yi Liang had already realized that Earth and the first moon were extraordinary. Even if Jiang Xi allowed the army to be stationed on Earth, he would first ask for true Lord Iron Mountain's permission. Then, the immortals crossed the void and arrived at the first moon. This time, they had time to carefully observe the dilapidated moon palace. The group of immortals gasped in amazement. This palace that seemed to have existed for countless years seemed to be extremely disrespectful, but it vaguely hid a great secret. However, they did not dare to enter without permission. Jiang Xi also did not intend to invite them in. He said with a smile, "Master, Senior Yi Liang, Senior Chu He, since you are already in front of my house, why don't you take a seat at my place?" "Of course." The Liquor Sword Immortal took a sip of wine from the gourd. I want to see what kind of environment could nurture a genius like you. Yi Liang laughed. Chu He also looked very interested. Even so, they did not plan to investigate Earth. Even true Lord Bao Yen did not do so just now. Obviously, there was a taboo. Under the current situation, if the higher-ups did not give the order, no one would dare to touch Earth. The higher-ups naturally referred to the higher-ups of the Tao Alliance, the Tao Monarchs. After returning to Earth, Jiang Xi first went to Shantian Prefecture. In fact, only one human died in this war. It was the higher-up of the Great Xia Alliance who was controlled by Qiao Cha with his spiritual sense. He was implicated and died. There were many others who were injured and frightened, more than half of them. The entire Earth was in chaos because when Qiao Cha released the people, everyone's order was messed up. Some of them were originally living in Pak Sun province, but now they had run to Shantian Prefecture, which was considered close. Some of them might be from North America's Shadow Mansion, but now they were in Africa's Cape of Good Hope. Jiang Xi also released Zhang Wei, Jiang Sheng, and more than 100 people. Many of them were higher-ups of the Great Xia Alliance. Jiang Xi. Little Jiang. Senior Jiang. Everyone was very excited when they saw Jiang Xi. Jiang Xi, what happened? That person doesn't seem to be from Earth. Also, where did you take us just now? Is it a storage space? In the end, Zhang Wei, who was the closest to Jiang Xi, asked many questions on behalf of everyone. Jiang Xi smiled. He did not answer immediately. Instead, he said, "Come, let me introduce everyone. This is my master, the Wine Sword Immortal, a 9-tribulation sword immortal from the Purple Heaven sect of the Tao Alliance. This is Senior Yi Liang, and this is Senior Chu He, a 9-tribulation transcender." Jiang Xi introduced them one by one. He knew that from today onwards, the Earth was going to change. An unprecedented change was coming. The people of Earth had to quickly learn and understand the situation of the Universal Tao Alliance. Getting to know these legendary immortals was the first step. Fortunately, Earth had experienced 5 spirit energy recoveries. Everyone had a certain degree of acceptance for this kind of mythical situation to become reality. At the same time, in the 6th heaven of the Purple Heaven sect, True Monarch Iron Mountain's Black Mountain Palace. True Monarch Iron Mountain's immortal army was almost fully mobilized, which attracted the attention of many higher-ups of the Purple Heaven sect. Many True Monarchs came to ask True Monarch Iron Mountain for details. True Monarch Iron Mountain did not hide anything. There was no need to hide anything. Earth? The planet of life in the depths of the asteroid belt? Is it the asteroid belt that the sect sent people to search for thousands of years ago? No wonder. It seems that there is a big secret there. A Tao monarch of the sect also searched there, but he found nothing. I didn't expect there to be a planet of life there. What's so special about that planet? But why was such a secret place discovered by the Tao sect first? Jiang Xi is a core disciple of the Purple Heaven sect. Earth is his private territory. Such an important place can't be taken by the Tao sect. It should belong to the Purple Heaven sect. The True Monarchs discussed and soon understood the general situation of Earth from True Monarch Iron Mountain. These experts with endless lifespans were all shocked. Some True Monarchs even exclaimed, "The ancestral land of the Tao Alliance. A forgotten place." They finally understood why True Monarch Bao Yen of the Tao sect would come to Earth. Finally, they were relieved when they learned that True Monarch Iron Mountain's army was stationed there. This way, Earth would definitely belong to the Purple Heaven sect. However, this matter still had to be decided by the higher-ups. After all, it involved the clash of 2 major forces. These True Monarchs, who were usually in charge, no longer had any say in this matter. After the True Monarchs left, True Monarch Iron Mountain sat on the throne and looked at the stars. Suddenly, he shook his head and chuckled. I didn't expect that kid to have such a background and opportunity. He had learned about the situation on Earth from a Tao Lord in his sect. He was also shocked at first, which was why so many immortal Tao experts were mobilized. There are still some things I need to ask that kid. True Monarch Iron Mountain contacted Jiang Ci with his communication bead. On Earth, Jiang Ci introduced the Wine Sword Immortal and the other two to everyone and briefly explained the situation of the Tao Alliance. In short, his words severely impacted everyone's worldview. It would probably take a while for everyone to digest all this. Jiang Ci's last words were, "We don't have much time left. We have to accept these changes as soon as possible." Many of these people were the decision-makers of the Great Xia Alliance. Only when these people accepted the new world could they control the impact of the changes on Earth through public opinion. This is a process that all indigenous planets have to go through before they can integrate into the universe. The Wine Sword Immortal smiled. That's right. Earth's situation is already very good. It's not like the other indigenous planets. Some have to accept violent and bloody massacres, while others have to accept miserable slavery. Yi Liang sighed. With Earth's special situation and your identity, Jiang Ci, Earth's situation in the Tao Alliance won't be bad in the future, Chu He said. These 3 Ninth Tribulation Transcenders were comforting Jiang Ci. They could hear that Jiang Ci was clearly a bit anxious. Yes. Jiang Ci nodded and relaxed a bit. He understood all of this, but he was still unwilling to accept it. If he was a Tao monarch, Earth definitely wouldn't be in such a situation now. To put it bluntly, Earth had no strength and no backing. For example, the indigenous planet of Kalos Star not long ago wasn't very strong and didn't have any strong backing. In the end, it was reduced to a farm for white feather star trade. Of course, Earth also had a backing, but that senior Qing shirt didn't care about anything. He only reminded him that Earth would face a crisis in the near future, then, he ran away with his people. Chapter 504. The higher-ups of the Great Xia Alliance on Earth were still digesting what Jiang Ci had just told them. With shock in their hearts, they began to discuss the possible changes that might occur, as well as the countermeasures that they should take next. Jiang Ci was on the side, giving advice and helping them make various decisions. Wine Sword Immortal, Yi Liang, and Chu He, the 3 Ninth Tribulation Transcenders, didn't participate. Because this was a matter for the people of Earth. Not long after, Jiang Ci received a new message in his communication bead. It's a message from True Monarch Iron Mountain. Jiang Ci glanced at Wine Sword Immortal and the others. Don't worry, Lord Iron Mountain probably summoned us to ask about what happened just now. Yi Liang smiled. Chu He chimed in. Go, I'll keep an eye on things here. Wine Sword Immortal gave him a reassuring look. Jiang Ci nodded and walked into another quiet meeting room, picking up the message. His spiritual sense turned into a phantom image through the communication bead and appeared in the palace of True Monarch Iron Mountain of the 6th heaven of the Purple Heaven sect. True Monarch Iron Mountain, who was wearing a blood-red armor, sat on a huge throne in the palace and looked down at Jiang Ci. Greetings, True Monarch Iron Mountain. Jiang Ci bowed respectfully. True Monarch Iron Mountain asked in a low voice, I called you here to confirm whether you're the only one who came out of Earth. There are 3 people in total. Apart from me, there's also my big brother Xian Tian and my second sister Li Bai. The 2 of them are now. Jiang Ci told him about the current situation of Xian Tian and Li Bai. There was no need to hide this kind of thing. Although few people knew about his relationship with Xian Tian and Li Bai, the Purple Heaven sect could easily find out if they wanted to. One of them is in the Daoist sect, and the other is in the Flowing Time Palace of the Heavenly Court. True Monarch Iron Mountain slowly nodded. No wonder the Daoist sect was able to find out about the situation on Earth. Jiang Ci frowned slightly. He understood what True Monarch Iron Mountain meant. It sounded like the Dao sect had discovered all of this because of the Xian Tian. This time, many Dao sect perfected lords have sent people to Earth, but perfected Lord Myriad Poison and perfected Lord Baoyan beat them to it. The other perfected lords are still on their way, perfected Lord Iron Mountain added. Remember, apart from the grotto heaven world that was promised to myriad poison sage, everything on earth is now prohibited from being sold no matter who the other party is. If someone is looking for trouble, just say that this is an order from the Purple Heaven sect. Yes. True Lord Iron Mountain did not ask anything else and ended the transmission. Jiang Ci sat alone in the quiet conference room, thinking about the short conversation just now. During this meeting, True Lord Iron Mountain revealed two important pieces of information to him. First of all, the higher-ups of the 3 gates and 6 sects must still be debating and discussing the matter of Earth. They had not come up with a final decision. Secondly, the reason why Earth was discovered might have something to do with Xian Tian. Although the mysterious enchantment that protected Earth had disappeared with the departure of Elder Bluestone and the first moon. But if no one took the initiative to expose Earth, perhaps in another 1,000 or 10,000 years, no one would discover the existence of Earth. Because the asteroid belt itself was a natural protective shield, very few people could pass through it. With 1,000 or even 10,000 years as a buffer, with the speed of his strength improvement, he might be able to protect Earth from these impacts. Unlike today, when he could only passively accept this sudden change. Although Big Brother's temperament is sometimes unreliable, he would never expose the existence of Earth. This was something that Jiang Ci could be sure of. It's useless to think too much, I might as well ask Big Brother directly. Just as this thought flashed across his mind, suddenly his communication bead showed that someone had sent him a message. It was Xian Tian. Jiang Ci laughed. He was originally the only one in this conference room. Soon, Xian Tian and Li Baibai's communication beads appeared one after another. Third brother, how's the situation on Earth? Xian Tian asked as soon as he came up. This question made Jiang Ci confirm that everything that happened on Earth today was indeed related to Xian Tian. This was because whether it was the Taoist sect's perfected cultivators or the Purple Heaven sect's mobilization of the Immortal Army, it was a very confidential matter. Xian Tian had only joined the Taoist sect for a few years and was only an ordinary core disciple, so he had no authority to know these things. Big Brother, how do you know these things? Jiang Ci asked in return. It's a long story, let's talk about the situation on Earth first. Xian Tian chuckled. Li Baibai was confused by the conversation between the two. No, wait. Big Brother, third brother, what are you talking about? Li Baibai was confused. Only then did Riverward recount everything that had happened, from when True Lord Myriad Poisons contacted him to when True Lord Baoyan left with Xiao Sha. Finally, he concluded, there are only 2 words to describe the current situation on Earth, it's a mess. It's good for it to be messy. Xian Tian nodded. Big Brother, what do you mean by it's good for it to be messy? Tens of billions of people on Earth almost died just now. Jiang Ci said with his eyes wide open. Third brother, don't underestimate the resilience of the people on Earth. Or rather, don't underestimate the resilience of the people of Great Xia. History has proven that temporary setbacks and pressures will allow our race and civilization to rebound to greater heights. Xian Tian laughed. Li Baibai had already understood what had happened. She also laughed and said, yes, third brother, you might want to let Earth continue to be in a closed state and develop gently. Until you or the 2 of us have enough strength to protect Earth, then we will let Earth integrate into the universe. This is not wrong, but it will always be lacking something. It's lacking cruelty and courage. If we don't see the cruelty of the universe, we will only raise a flock of sheep. The strength of Earth cannot be limited to the strength of a few people, it has to be strong as a whole. Xian Tian added. Jiang Ci slowly nodded thoughtfully. Gentleness and cruelty, of course, cruelty was more likely to motivate people to improve. I understand. Jiang Ci let out a long breath and then said, but, Big Brother, from what you said, this matter was really caused by you. That's right, it was me. Xian Tian admitted generously. It was really you. Jiang Ci widened his eyes again. You are so unreliable. Li Baibai also looked at Xian Tian in puzzlement and asked for the reason. The two of you don't have to give me such an expression. I did it unintentionally. Xian Tian laughed. He looked at Jiang Xi and asked, Third brother, do you know why true monarch Myriad Poisons gave in? Do you know why true monarch Bao Yan took the initiative to leave in the end? Jiang Xi shook his head. He still didn't understand this question. Why would a true monarch expert be so gentle to him? Because I asked true monarch Yanqing for help. Taoism is a supreme existence. No matter how strong true monarch Myriad Poisons and true monarch Bao Yan are, they can only listen obediently. Xian Tian said with a smile. True monarch Yanqing. Jiang Xi was really shocked now. One had to know that there weren't many true monarchs in the entire human race. This could be seen from the number of inheritance altars in the ancient Tao origin world. Only peak true monarchs were qualified to leave behind inheritance altars in the ancient Tao origin world. There were a total of 44 inheritance altars, which meant that there were 44 peak true monarchs in the human race. The entire human race had gone through countless tribulations over the countless years before they could produce a single true monarch. Any one of these true monarchs was a supreme existence whose might shook the universe. Jiang Xi thought that he had a good relationship with the upper echelons. Not only was he able to talk to true monarch Iron Mountain, but he was also able to receive guidance from true monarch Six Virtuous. He didn't expect that Big Brother would be able to directly ask true monarch Yanqing for help. When did Xian Tian know such an existence? He even asked for help. This wasn't just a simple meeting, but a true acquaintance. Big Brother, I've heard of true monarch Yanqing in the heavenly court. He's the true leader of the Dao sect and is ranked in the top 5 of the entire human race. How did you know him? Li Baibai asked on behalf of Jiang Xi. This has to do with my unintentional actions. Xian Tian smiled. Third brother, you should know that the Skyspan Mountain and Skyspan River are in the Skyspan River diagram, right? He asked Jiang Xi. Jiang Xi nodded. Yes, any new core disciple of the Tao Alliance's 3 gates and 6 sects will have a chance to cultivate in the ancient Tao origin world for 30 years. After choosing their inheritance altars in the ancient Tao origin world, they'll be qualified to challenge the Skyspan Mountain and Skyspan River. Big Brother, you went to challenge them? Jiang Xi's eyes lit up as he realized something. Yes, I'm currently cultivating in the ancient Tao origin world. Some time ago, I challenged the Skyspan Mountain, but I failed in the second trial, Xian Tian said calmly. The flow of time in the ancient Tao origin world is 3.6 times faster than in the origin universe. Big Brother, you've only cultivated in the ancient Tao origin world for a little over a year. It's already very good to be able to pass the first trial. Only a few of the geniuses in the 9 regions genius tournament were able to do so, Jiang Xi said with a smile. Xian Tian's talent in the Tao wasn't weak. Before they left Earth, Xian Tian had already comprehended the Saber Tao. However, after stepping into space, his opportunities and cultivation environment couldn't compare to Jiang Xi's. After cultivating for more than 200 years, his Tao was only able to pass the first trial. Big Brother, your results in the Skyspan Mountain aren't enough to attract the attention of a true monarch. Is it? Skyspan River? Jiang Xi's eyes glowed. The Skyspan Mountain tested one's cultivation and Tao, while the Skyspan River tested one's mental state and spiritual sense. The mental state had 3 major stages: false, grand, and void. Before entering the Tao sect, Xian Tian's mental state had reached the peak of the second stage, which could be said to be abnormal. Even if Xian Tian's spiritual sense was only at the mid-nascent soul stage, he should be able to achieve good results in the Skyspan River with his mental state. Li Baibai was also looking at Xian Tian. After understanding the situation of Heavenspan Mountain and Heavenspan River, she was also filled with anticipation. Given Xian Tian's mental state, how far could he go in the Heavenspan River? Yes, I went to the Skyspan River again, and then something big happened. Those islands had spiritual sense pressure and illusions, But I didn't care about those and just went through step by step. Unfortunately, my spiritual sense was too weak. My spiritual sense collapsed as soon as I set foot on the 21st island. Xian Tian shook his head and sighed. He went to the 21st island on the Skyspan River. Jiang Xi's breathing stagnated. He was shocked. Chapter 505. The 21st Island. Li Baibai was also shocked. She asked Jiang Xi, third brother, which island did you reach when you were at the nascent soul stage? Jiang Xi took a deep breath and looked at Xian Tian in disbelief. Then, he said, I reached the 9th island, but I failed on the 10th island. The difference is so big? Li Baibai was surprised. It's not just big, it's like the difference between heaven and earth. Jiang Xi shook his head and stared at Xian Tian, saying, Big Brother's result is abnormal among abnormal. The spiritual sense pressure of the 10th island on the heavenly river has already reached the tribulation transcender level. Coupled with the existence of illusions, even a first tribulation transcender might not be able to reach the 10th island. As for the 21st island, the spiritual sense pressure there has already reached the true monarch level. That's not something a nascent soul stage cultivator can reach. Big Brother, how did you do it? Jiang Xi shook his head again and again. It wasn't that he refused to accept it, but that he couldn't believe it. After reaching the 10th island on the heavenly river, not to mention the illusions, just the spiritual sense pressure alone was enough to directly shatter the spiritual sense of a nascent soul stage cultivator. Everything is possible. Xian Tian gently smiled and asked Jiang Xi, third brother, what level is your mental state at now? Jiang Xi said, I just reached the 2nd level. Oh? You're progressing quite fast. Xian Tian was a bit surprised. Then, he smiled and said, then, when you reach the 2nd level, you'll know why I was able to reach the 21st island on the heavenly river. The 2nd level of the mental state is a big realm. After reaching the 2nd level, it means that the mind is infinitely big and can encompass all things. Of course, it can also encompass spiritual sense pressure and illusions, unless it really far exceeds the tolerance of my mental state. Jiang Xi suddenly understood. In fact, if he were to go now, he should be able to reach the 15th island. But even if he reached the 2nd level, there was still a limit. When I failed to reach the 21st island, I immediately attracted the attention of the higher-ups of the Taoist sect, the real higher-ups. Xian Tian finally emphasized. Dao Lord Yanqing? Jiang Xi asked. No, Venerable Ming Tian. Xian Tian laughed. Jiang Xi and Li Baibai were both shocked Venerable Ming was the strongest expert of the Tao sect. At the same time, he was also the strongest expert of the human race. He was the only celestial venerable. Xian Tian said, tomorrow's revered lord immediately ordered a lockdown on the news. That's why very few people know about my Heavenspan River results. Jiang Xi nodded his head. To have such a state of mind at the nascent soul stage, this was an unparalleled genius. Xian Tian smiled faintly. Furthermore, tomorrow revered lord ordered me to be accepted as an in-name disciple. Then, he arranged for Taoist Lord Yanqing to temporarily teach me. When I transcend the tribulation and become an immortal one day, then I can become an official disciple of Venerable Ming and have the qualifications to listen to his teachings. Fuck. Jiang Xi didn't know how to describe his feelings at the moment. Li Baibai also widened his eyes. To be accepted as a disciple by the strongest human being? This was a truly heaven-defying opportunity. The shock in Jiang Xi's heart couldn't be calmed down for a long time. In comparison, the young geniuses of the 9 Regions Genius Tournament. In the end, those who were qualified to be accepted as disciples were all tribulation transcender powerhouses. Back then, only Ji Wei and Mu Ning were accepted as disciples by perfected lords. Because perfected lords had endless lifespans, very few of them would accept disciples. From this, one could see how difficult it was for true powerhouses to accept disciples. Not to mention perfected lords accepting disciples. Tao lords often didn't accept disciples for thousands of eras or even tens of thousands of eras. As for heavenly venerables, the number of disciples they had could be counted on one hand. Although Xian Tian was only an in-name disciple of tomorrow revered Lord, as long as he transcended the tribulation and became an immortal, he could become an official disciple. This was definitely a meteoric rise. Big brother, you're amazing. Jiang Ci gave him a thumbs up. Xian Tian chuckled and shook his head. Actually, it's just that. The cultivation of one's mental state is extremely profound. Mental state is a profound state of mind, and it can only assist in cultivation for now. In battle, I still have to rely on spiritual energy and Taoist techniques. Now, not to mention immortals, even Tao integration cultivators can kill me with a wave of their hand. Jiang Ci and Li Baibai looked at each other. Big brother, keep pretending. Li Baibai said. That's right, be careful not to be struck by lightning. Jiang Ci also joked. Then, he smiled and said, I'm thinking, if Blue Star Region's Shuang family and Moon Palace's Fairy Wang Qing knew that Big Brother was accepted as an in-name disciple by tomorrow revered Lord, what kind of expression would they have? 5 years ago, Xian Tian and Shuang Long, the genius of the Shuang family, had been stopped by the Shuang family and Fairy Wang Qing and forcibly separated. Although they didn't say it clearly at that time, their attitude of looking down on others was already clear. I'm afraid they'll regret it. Li Baibai laughed. Xian Tian just smiled and shook his head. He had already seen through everything. He said, I know myself. Even if I become tomorrow revered Lord's in-name disciple and have Taoist Yanqing to teach me, I still have a long way to go. I believe in Big Brother. Jiang Ci said with a smile. With Big Brother's mental state, it'll be hard for him not to become a powerhouse in the future. Li Baibai also smiled. Xian Tian's gaze fell on Li Baibai. Little Bai, you might have to leave the Time Palace. I told Taoist Yanqing about your situation. Your mental state cultivation has already reached the first level of perfection and you cultivate the extremely rare Time Tao art. Taoist Yanqing will arrange for his disciple to accept you as a disciple. Li Baibai was stunned. Taoist Yanqing's disciple was naturally a perfected cultivator. Jiang Ci watched from the side. He didn't say anything, but his face was full of smiles. He was sincerely happy for his eldest brother and second sister's encounter. The future of Earth couldn't rely on him alone. Now, Xian Tian and Li Baibai had finally ushered in their own opportunities. Their future was promising. Next, the three of them changed the topic back to how Earth was exposed. Xian Tian said, with my nascent soul cultivation, I reached the 21st island of the heavenly stream. This attracted the attention of revered Ming, Taoist Yanqing, and other higher-ups. Then, Taoist Yanqing learned about Little Bai's situation from me. He was a little surprised. Finally, I told him about Third Brother's situation. Taoist Yanqing was a supreme existence, but he was stunned for a few seconds because it's almost impossible for three geniuses to appear on a life planet in the same era. Jiang Ci also nodded in agreement. From this point, one could see the uniqueness of Earth. It was as if the three of them were born with luck. One became a core disciple of the Purple Heaven sect, and his talent was close to that of an epix. The other became an in-name disciple of revered Ming, and his mental state talent might not appear in several epics. Although Li Baibai was a little weaker than them, he comprehended the extremely rare Time Tao art. He was also a rare genius. Of course, Jiang Ci didn't forget Jiang Dudu. However, Jiang Dudu was a completely different existence from the three of them. She truly became strong while sleeping. She couldn't be called a genius. She had already surpassed the category of a genius. When Taoist Yanqing knew that the three of us came from Earth, he reported this situation to revered Ming. Then, revered Ming personally went to Earth and discovered everything about Earth. Xian Tian said. Revered Ming went to Earth? Jiang Ci was shocked. Yes. Qian Tian nodded. No wonder. Jiang Ci suddenly understood. No wonder Elder Qingshi left in a hurry. Was he afraid of meeting Revered Ming? Did Revered Ming find anything? Jiang Ci asked. A heavenly venerable level expert personally investigated. What he saw would definitely be different from what they saw. He didn't say. Actually, even if he found something, he wouldn't tell me. Qian Tian shook his head. Then, he thought of something. Right, Daoist Yanqing told me that after Revered Ming returned from Earth, he said something. He finally found. Jiang Ci was deep in thought. Did Revered Ming already know about Earth's existence? After a moment of realization, there were still many mysteries. There were still many secrets that couldn't be found. After a moment of contemplation, Jiang Ci said, Big brother, sister bye-bye, actually, more than half a year ago, I entered the second moon. Jiang Ci told them about his encounter with Elder Qingshi. Qian Tian and Li Baibai looked at each other. They only knew about this after hearing this. It sounds like that senior already predicted everything that happened today. Could it be that he's a mighty figure who cultivates the Tao of time? Li Baibai said, that's possible. I just don't know what his motive is. Senior Qingshi is such a mysterious expert, but he's actually just an executor of Earth's spirit chi recovery. There are other powerful existences behind him. Also, he called Earth the ancestral land of the Tao Alliance, a forgotten place. And his identity, looks like there are still many mysteries surrounding Earth. Qian Tian sighed. Regardless of how many mysteries there are, they'll be solved sooner or later as we become more powerful. Just like 200 years ago, we didn't know about these things. But now, we do. Jiang Ci chuckled. Qian Tian and Li Baibai also chuckled. The three of them chatted for a while longer before ending the transmission. After communicating with his big brother and second sister, Jiang Ci's anxious heart also calmed down. This was a path that Earth had to take. Compared to the gentle integration into the universe in the future, the cruel integration now would indeed bring more pressure and motivation to the people of Earth. As for where Earth would go in the future, it was no longer something that he could control. The only thing that he wasn't sure about was whether he could still control Earth. After all, this was a place that even Revered Ming attached great importance to, the ancestral land of the Tao Alliance. Adults wouldn't choose to leave their precious gems in the care of a child. By the same logic, with the power of the Tao Alliance's 3 sects and 6 sects, they probably wouldn't leave such an important place in the care of a little nascent soul cultivator. In the following day, the upper echelons of the Great Xia Alliance on Earth finally decided on a preliminary strategy to deal with the major changes. In short, they were going to deal with the changes by sticking to the status quo. They were going to calm their emotions and maintain stability. One day later, Jiang Ci received another transmission from True Lord Iron Mountain. It's here. Jiang Ci knew that the upper echelons of the Tao Alliance had already come to a decision. After receiving the transmission, his transmission phantom appeared in True Lord Iron Mountain's palace again. This time, there was another person in the palace that covered an area of 1 million square kilometers. Beside True Lord Iron Mountain, who was wearing a crimson armor, was a beautiful female immortal in an azure dress. From the looks of it, the female immortal in the azure dress was similar to True Lord Iron Mountain. She was also a perfected lord. Who was this person? Chapter 506. Purple Heaven Sect 6th Heaven, inside the palace at the peak of the black starry sky mountain. True Monarch Iron Mountain did not sit on the throne this time. Instead, he came to Jiang Ci with the green-clothed female immortal. Jiang Ci thought that this green-clothed female immortal should be the representative of the Tao Alliance's upper echelons to negotiate with him. Greetings, True Monarch Iron Mountain. Jiang Ci bowed respectfully. No need for formalities. True Monarch Iron Mountain smiled and introduced, Jiang Ci, This is true monarch Sang-yun from the Tao Alliance's heavenly court. She is also a member of our Purple Heaven sect. Greetings, true monarch Sang-yun. Jiang Xi bowed again. She came from the Tao Alliance's heavenly court. Did that mean that Earth's appearance had caused the 3 gates and 6 sects to participate? The possibility was very high. After all, Earth's many mystic realms and grotto heaven worlds were similar to these sections. The green-clothed female immortal, true monarch Sang-yun, had a refreshing smile on her face. She said, "Little fellow, you are quite lucky. Not only did you come from the Tao Alliance's ancestral land, you even managed to claim the ancestral land as your private territory." Jiang Xi remained silent and sighed in his heart. Good luck. It would be good luck if he could protect Earth. No matter what, it would be difficult for an essence soul realm genius like him to attract the attention of the upper echelons of the human race. You don't have to worry. The Emperor sent me here to discuss Earth with you. He wants to tell you that we will not take away your opportunities. True monarch Sang-yun smiled. Jiang Xi heaved a sigh of relief. At the same time, he was surprised. Even the Emperor was involved? The Emperor was naturally the current master of the Heavenly Court and was also a cultivator of the Purple Heaven sect. In the Heavenly Court's conference that just ended not long ago, the upper echelons of the human race from the 3 gates and 6 sects discussed many plans to deal with Earth. Some people proposed to directly take away your sovereignty over Earth, and the majority of them agreed. True monarch Sang-yun continued. Jiang Xi's expression did not change. He was not surprised by this proposal. If he were in the upper echelons of the human race, he would also have such thoughts. How could such an important place be managed by a little fellow at the essence soul realm? Taking away sovereignty over Earth was just a matter of words for the real upper echelons. However, these suggestions were all rejected by the Emperor. In the end, the conference decided on 2 plans for you to choose from. These are the plans. Choose one of them. True monarch Sang-yun waved his hand and brought out 2 3D phantoms, displaying the specific contents of the plans. Jiang Xi looked over with a serious expression. He read every word and sentence carefully, not missing a single detail. Actually, there wasn't much content in the 2 proposals. First plan, he would sell Earth to the Heavenly Court of the Tao Alliance, and the Earthlings would move out of Earth. The future of Earth would have nothing to do with Jiang Xi or the people on Earth. Then, Jiang Xi would get a fortune of 500 billion points. This was the wealth that only true monarchs possessed, and only those true monarchs who were slightly richer could take out. However, compared to the value of Earth, 500 billion points were not much. Jiang Xi understood that the higher-ups of the human race were already very merciful by offering such a price. If the powerhouse who really played a decisive role had a slightly more domineering personality, they could directly take away the sovereignty of Earth. Pay? Don't even think about it. A little guy at the essence soul realm was dreaming. In addition, so many points were not paid in one go, but in installments. This was not a trick of the Heavenly Court, but a consideration of Jiang Xi's safety. Because once the news that Jiang Xi had 500 billion points spread out, it would definitely make a large number of immortal Tao powerhouses go crazy. Some extremely vicious people might directly hunt down Jiang Xi. According to the installment plan, Jiang Xi would get 5 billion points in the Essence Soul realm and 50 billion points in the Tao Integration realm. After transcending the tribulation and becoming an immortal, he would get the remaining 445 billion points. In other words, if Jiang Xi chose the first plan, he would immediately get 5 billion points. It was still a lot, but the risk of being hunted down would be greatly reduced. Thinking about how he had narrowly escaped death in the land of reincarnation, he was only able to obtain the corpse of a tribulation transcender monster worth 100 million points. Now, he could get 5 billion points just by signing the contract. How ironic. Jiang Xi laughed at himself and continued to look at the next plan, the second plan. Considering that Earth was Jiang Xi's hometown and private territory, the Heavenly Court gave a slightly gentler plan. Earth still belonged to Jiang Xi, and the people on Earth did not need to move. However, Earth's grotto heaven world belonged to the heavenly court of the Tao Alliance, and the 3 gates and 6 sects were allowed to send people to guard it. At the same time, the heavenly court promised that the 3 gates and 6 sects would not disturb the normal lives of the people on Earth. Moreover, the 3 gates and 6 sects would also spend resources to cultivate the people on Earth. Those with outstanding talent could join any of the sects and become an official disciple. Of course, if Jiang Xi chose this plan, the points he would get would be greatly reduced. He would only get 100 billion points, 400 billion points less than the first plan. And for Jiang Xi's safety, it would also be paid in installments. The Essence Soul Realm would get 500 million points, the Tao Integration Realm would get 5 billion points, and the remaining 5 billion points after becoming an immortal. In the main hall, True Monarch Iron Mountain and True Monarch Sang Yun looked at Jiang Xi, waiting for Jiang Xi to make a choice. The huge amount of points for these 2 plans tempted even them. Even if they wanted to take out so many points at once, it would be extremely difficult. Especially for the first plan, 500 billion points. The huge amount of points was a great temptation. They wanted to know what Jiang Xi would choose. After a while, Jiang Xi let out a sigh of relief. He finished reading. So, which one do you choose? True Monarch Sang Yun asked. The second one. Jiang Xi said. The second one? True Monarch Iron Mountain and True Monarch Sang Yun looked at each other in surprise. You don't want to think about it? There is a difference of 400 billion points in between. You have to know that even if you become an immortal in the future, or even a true monarch, it will be very difficult to earn so many points. True Monarch Sang Yun laughed. Yes, Jiang Xi, I remember that you are still the overlord of the Milky Way galaxy. Even if you sell Earth, you can still move to another planet. Earthlings can also move to other planets. It's just like moving homes. Have you thought it through? True Lord Iron Mountain said. Jiang Xi calmly shook his head and said, home represents a lot of things in the eyes of us Earthlings. Unless it is absolutely necessary, I will not let everyone leave their homes and become rootless duckweeds. True Monarch Iron Mountain and True Monarch Sang Yun chuckled and nodded. Jiang Xi's choice was beyond their expectations, but they appreciated this kind of temperament. Countless powerhouses in the universe would face many choices on their path of growth. In the face of such great temptation, there were very few people who could stay true to their hearts. The cultivation resources represented by 400 billion points could definitely make countless tribulation transcenders, Tao immortals, and true monarchs reveal the most primitive part of human nature. Greed. On the path of the strong, everyone pursued strength, and very few people would put their home first. They would admire Riverward's choice, but the vast majority of people would choose the first option to obtain the most points and become stronger. True Monarch Iron Mountain said, I heard from the people in the sect that your state of mind has surpassed that of most tribulation transcenders. It seems that there is a reason for this. I hope you can continue to persevere. Jiang Xi was silent. True Monarch Sang Yun smiled and said, since it's decided, use your spiritual sense to leave a mark on the second plan and sign the contract. Jiang Xi did as he was told. The phantom image was formed by his spiritual sense, so he separated a wisp of it and made a seal on the 3D phantom image of the second plan. The contract was signed. After ending the transmission, Jiang Xi sat alone in the conference hall and was silent for a long time. With the signing of the contract, the future of Earth was finally determined. In fact, according to his inner thoughts, he did not want to choose either plan. Because both plans were very overbearing. He had to choose, and he could only choose one of them. There was no other choice. Although it was overbearing, for a little guy who was only at the Essence Soul stage, this was already a great mercy from the higher-ups of the human race. The Heavenly Court could deprive him of his sovereignty over Earth without paying a single cent. Of course, Jiang Xi also understood that from a self-comforting point of view, this was the best result in this situation. Originally, he thought that he would lose control of Earth. But now, he chose the second plan, which he did not expect. Earthlings could still live on Earth. Those grotto heavens belonged to the heavenly court of the Tao Alliance and were guarded by the 3 gates and 6 sects. This plan would have little impact on Earthlings because most of them did not have the experience of entering grotto heavens. Even if the grotto heavens were taken over by the 3 gates and 6 sects, their daily lives would not be affected too much. Moreover, the 3 gates and 6 sects would spend resources to cultivate Earthlings, which would speed up the overall growth of Earthlings. It seemed like a very good future, but the problem was that this self-comforting was also self-deceiving. Jiang Xi was not willing to accept this. Strength. He clenched his fists and then loosened them. Even if he already had the strength to fight against tribulation transcender experts, he was still too weak. Not to mention facing the heavenly court and the 3 gates and 6 sects, just facing true monarch Myriad Poison, true monarch Baoyan, Chao Tu, and other immortal path experts, in front of these people, he had no strength to resist. Wine Sword Immortal took the wine gourd and walked into the conference hall. He saw Jiang Xi's actions. "Are you feeling very uncomfortable?" Wine Sword Immortal raised the gourd and drank a mouthful of wine. "Yes." Jiang Xi nodded with a hoarse voice. "What plan did the higher-ups give you?" Wine Sword Immortal asked. Jiang Xi told him the 2 plans and his choice. Wine Sword Immortal nodded with gratification. Jiang Xi's choice made him understand that he did not misjudge him. "Disciple, being weak is not scary. What is scary is being weak and not knowing it. So, work hard and cultivate. The rules of the universe are nothing more than the strong being respected. When you are able to stand in the forest of the strong and have the right to speak in the human race, you will be able to decide the fate of Earth." Wine Sword Immortal said. Jiang Xi's eyes shone with a divine light. The desire to become stronger in his heart was unprecedentedly strong. Moreover, he was full of confidence. With the experience points panel, stepping onto the peak of the universe was just a matter of time and resources. He did not lack time now. After completing the transaction with the Heavenly Court, he also had resources. The first batch of 500 million points had already been received. It was enough for him to exchange for a large amount of cultivation resources. The strong being respected was an eternal truth. Then, he would become a true expert. Chapter 507. The Heavenly Court and the 3 gates and 6 sects acted quickly. On the day the contract was signed, a large number of people entered Earth through the teleportation array on the first moon. They did not interfere with the lives of the people on Earth. After investigating the various grotto heavens on Earth, they divided them up. For example, the Heavenly Court occupied the Mount Tai Grotto Heaven and 2 smaller grotto heavens. The Tao sect occupied the Longhu Grotto Heaven and the Qingqing Grotto Heaven. In addition, the Heavenly Court and the 3 gates and 6 sects sent people to guard the Fengdu Grotto Heaven. Because it was the ancestral land of the Ghost Clan, they might be able to discover some secrets of the Ghost Clan. The 10 grotto heavens that were originally for the monsters were also divided. The Heavenly Court and the 3 gates and 6 sects each occupied one. The monsters on Earth became the research subjects of the immortals because many of them had the top bloodline of the demon clan. Some of the bloodlines of the monsters could no longer be found in the current demon clan. The immortals tried to discover some secrets of the demon clan by studying the monsters on Earth. The actions of the Heavenly Court and the 3 gates and 6 sects made Jiang Xi understand why the old man with the blue stone cleaned up the various mystic realms and grotto heavens on Earth not long ago. It turned out that this mysterious senior had already expected this scene. Other than the grotto heavens that were divided up by the Heavenly Court and the 3 gates and 6 sects, there was also a huge star-like palace in outer space. The size of this star-like palace obviously belonged to a perfected cultivator. Earth was too important to the Tao Alliance and it was located in the Zixiao region. Therefore, the Zixiao sect specially sent a perfected cultivator to guard Earth. Jiang Xi and the Wine Sword Immortal looked at the star-like palace. In Jiang Si's eyes, Earth was like the dough-grain continent and the myriad mountains starry sea. They also had star-like palaces and perfected cultivators guarding the starry sky. Master, thank you so much, Jiang Si said with a serious expression. The Wine Sword Immortal not only helped him defeat Xiao Tu and the others, but also applied to the Zixiao sect to guard Earth not long ago. He had just received permission. Therefore, the Wine Sword Immortal was the second most powerful person in the Purple Heaven sect's army, besides the perfected cultivator in the Starlight Palace. With the Wine Sword Immortal around, Earth's future would have another guarantee. However, the Wine Sword Immortal's sacrifice was too great. The cultivation environment of the ancient Tao origin world was incomparable to that of Earth. Haha, you and I are master and disciple. There's no need for such empty words. Besides, I like this planet very much. There's wine, meat, and friends. Wine Sword Immortal laughs loudly. After staying on Earth for 2 days, he has already learned how to speak like the people on Earth. Also, I probably haven't told you that this is only my clone. My true body is still in the ancient Tao origin world, the Wine Sword Immortal added. Doppelganger? Jiang Si was surprised. What? Only you are allowed to have clones, but I can't. The Wine Sword Immortal teased. Jiang Si laughed. It seemed like his master already knew that he had an avatar. Speaking of clones, I need to remind you. Wine Sword Immortal suddenly said seriously. Master, please speak. The value of a clone lies in its quality, not in its quantity. Why? This is what I heard from a Tao Lord. He said that a person's spiritual sense source is limited. If one's spiritual sense source is too scattered, it will be very difficult to advance in the future. Some people with peerless talent are unable to become immortals because they have too many clones. Even if they become immortals, they won't have the chance to advance to a higher realm. Jiang Si noted this down. Fortunately, he only treated his clones as tools and did not refine too many clones. He almost made a huge mistake. The great change on Earth lasted for 7 days before it finally calmed down. During these 7 days, the people on Earth often saw immortals flying in the sky and burrowing into the ground. They were also surprised that there was a new star palace in outer space. Some people said that these 7 days of changes were the beginning of the immortal Tao era on Earth. Although there were great changes, everyone's life went on as usual. It was just that there were many new elements. This was all thanks to the Great Xia Alliance's guidance and control of public opinion. For more than 200 years, the Great Xia Alliance had firmly controlled the various forces on Earth. Jiang Si sighed with emotion and also felt very gratified. This was because Jiang Dudu also played a part in this. While he, Xian Tian, and Li Baibai were cultivating in outer space, Jiang Dudu would often return to Earth to cultivate her own forces and weaken those disobedient forces and reclusive families. Therefore, there was today's Great Xia Alliance, which had strong cohesion, credibility, and ruling power. I wonder where this little girl is in the universe now. Jiang Si looked at the starry sky and transmitted his thoughts. That unreliable old man with bluestone had left him a bluestone token. In the end, he had left countless messages, but there was no response. Moreover, he had also failed to send a message to Jiang Dudu. It was obvious that the old man with bluestone had taken away Jiang Dudu's communication pearl or cut off the transmission. On this day, in Xian Tian City, Jiang Si's residence, Jiang Si was asking his master, the Wine Sword Immortal, about some questions regarding the Sword Tao. Lu Chuan came to report that an immortal Tao expert from a sect had come to visit. Jiang Si was very calm and wasn't too surprised. This was because many people had come to visit in the past few days, and there was no lack of immortal Tao experts among them. Of course, most of them were here for the Wine Sword Immortal. Jiang Si glanced at his master. Master had the final say on whether or not he wanted to see her. Let him in. The Wine Sword Immortal drank a mouthful of wine. Soon, a young man in a black robe walked in. His body faintly emitted the aura of a sixth tribulation transcender. However, his face was full of smiles as he respectfully said to the Wine Sword Immortal, "Junior Immortal Nan Song greets Senior Zhongli. We haven't seen each other for many years, but Senior is still as elegant as ever." A sixth tribulation transcender calling himself a junior immortal? Jiang Ci was very surprised. This attitude was very humble. The Wine Sword Immortal laughed and scolded, "Kid, don't do these things here. If you have something to say, say it." The smile on Nan Song's face became even wider. He didn't care about the Wine Sword Immortal's attitude. The Wine Sword Immortal pointed at Nan Song and said to Jiang Ci, "He can be considered half your senior brother. 60,000 years ago, before he became an immortal, it was your master's wife, Hibiscus Sword Immortal, who brought him into the Purple Heaven sect." A trace of emotion and excitement flashed through Nan Song's eyes. It was as if his identity had been recognized. Jiang Ci came to a realization and hurriedly bowed. Jiang Ci greets senior brother Nan Song. "Junior brother, no need to be so polite. Actually, I came here specifically to look for you," Nan Song said with a smile. "Oh?" Jiang Ci and the Wine Sword Immortal were both surprised. "Junior brother, do you still remember the White Feather Star trade that happened not long ago?" Nan Song said. "I remember. I was the one who destroyed it." "Why? Is someone looking for trouble?" Jiang Ci was puzzled. Not only was there a fourth tribulation transcender old ancestor of the Soaring Rainbow sect behind the White Feather Star trade, there was also an unknown sixth tribulation transcender expert. There aren't many people who dare to look for trouble with junior brother nowadays. Nan Song shook his head. Then, he said, "After you reported the situation of the White Feather Star trade to the sect investigated it. Then, they assigned the follow-up matters to junior brother and classified it as a questioning heart mission." Questioning heart mission? The Wine Sword Immortal frowned slightly. Jiang Ci was even more puzzled. He had never heard of it before. The Questioning Heart mission is a special mission specially prepared by the sect for the core disciples. It usually appears in the Tao integration stage. The Wine Sword Immortal explained the relevant information about the Questioning Heart mission. According to the Purple Heaven sect's training route, the nascent soul stage disciples would take on various cultivation missions, the essence soul stage disciples would be sent out for experiential learning, and the Tao integration stage disciples would undergo life and death tempering. Among these three stages, the essence soul stage and the Tao integration stage disciples might have questioning heart missions. However, they usually appeared in the Tao integration stage. There were very few essence soul stage disciples who could do questioning heart missions. This showed that they were really valued by the higher-ups of the sect. This was because the questioning heart mission tested one's temperament. It was similar to the essence soul stage disciples going out for experiential learning. It could determine whether the disciple could become a decision-maker in the sect in the future. The difference was that the essence soul stage disciples going out for experiential learning was only auxiliary. In the eyes of the higher-ups of the sect, the questioning heart mission would have more weight. The decision-makers of the sect? Jiang Ci advocated strength and didn't care much about power. However, if the identity of the higher-ups of the sect could help him decide the fate of Earth, he could consider fighting for it. "Senior brother, what is the specific content of the mission?" Jiang Ci asked. When it came to the content of the mission, Nan Song's expression finally became serious. He had the majesty of an immortal powerhouse. He said, "The mission is divided into two stages. The first thing you have to do is the first stage. After the sect's investigation, the ancestor of the Flying Rainbow sect, Immortal Yuan Ku, who was a four-tribulation transcender, not only established the White Feather Star trade, but also carried out illegal interstellar trading activities. In the last 40,000 years, he also ordered the Flying Rainbow sect to illegally enslave 2,895 indigenous planets. Chapter 508. since he was going to kill someone, he would have to fight and bring a bodyguard with him. Jiang Xi brought Lu Chuan with him. A few days ago, when facing the threatening attack of Qiao Tu and the others, Lu Chuan had risked his life and used his ultimate move, Burning Hell, to protect him. From this matter, it could be seen that Lu Chuan was a trustworthy person. After the two of them arrived at Planet Blue with Nan Song, they flew straight to East Pole Island, the Purple Heaven Sect's Planet Blue branch. This island also had a Grotto Heaven world, and the army of cultivators was stationed here. The fourth Tribulation Transcender of the military department, Chen Hu, had already received the order from the Purple Heaven Sect and was waiting in the main hall of the military department. Ever since Jiang Xi took over as the supervising elder, he rarely appeared. This kind of supervision work actually made the three elders a little nervous. They were afraid that Jiang Xi wouldn't make a move because they couldn't figure out Jiang Xi's methods. Moreover, according to past experience, disciples at the fourth firmament of the Essence Soul stage who were sent out to train would usually stay in the position of supervising elder for about 1,000 years. Jiang Xi had only been in the job for 5 years, so it was still early. Chen Hu and the other two elders wanted to serve Elder Jiang Xi well so that Jiang Xi wouldn't come looking for trouble with them. The supervising elder had the power to supervise the branch. If Jiang Xi really wanted to investigate, not only would the three elders lose their positions, but they would also be punished by the sect. Therefore, when Chen Hu received the order this time, he immediately put this matter on the top of his list. A dignified fourth Tribulation Transcender personally welcomed Jiang Xi outside the main hall. After Jiang Xi arrived, he saw Chen Hu standing outside the main hall wearing armor and holding a large sword with both hands. Inside the main hall, there were 100,000 cultivators with imposing auras neatly arranged in a formation. Before he got close, he heard Chen Hu's hearty laughter. Elder Jiang Xi, I have prepared the most elite force of the Planet Blue's military department for you, the 4th Battalion. Among them, 100,000 Essence Soul stage cultivators, 10,000 Dao Integration stage cultivators, and 100 Tribulation Transcender cultivators are at your disposal. Thank you. Jiang Xi nodded slightly. From Chen Hu's reaction, he didn't know what had happened on Earth some time ago. It seemed like the Heavenly Court and the 3 gates and 6 sects had sealed off the news very well. Walking into the main hall of the military department, Riverward swept his gaze around the hall. He was not blinded by anger. Instead, he became even more clear-headed. The Soaring Rainbow sect was not as easy to deal with as he had imagined. This immortal Dao sect, second only to the Zhangyan sect in the Kanglan Star region, had existed for more than 1,000,000 years. He could be said to have a deep foundation. Who knew if there were any hidden forces? If he wanted to go to trial by himself, he would probably be reduced to ashes. Now, with the help of the army deployed by the sect, the 4th Battalion of the Dark Blue Star region's military headquarters was more than enough to flatten the Soaring Rainbow sect. Junior Apprentice Brother Jiang Xi, this is the current distribution of Soaring Rainbow sect's members and forces. Nan Song waved his hand and brought out a 3-dimensional image of the starry sky. Jiang Xi and Chen Hu's eyes fell on the star chart. The Soaring Rainbow sect's sphere of influence was very wide, and some of them were even very remote. In particular, the indigenous planets that were illegally enslaved were not shown on the normal star map. However, this star chart completely showed all the power points of the Soaring Rainbow sect. This also showed the strength of the Purple Heaven sect's intelligence network. It should be said that no one in the original universe could escape the surveillance of the Eye of Heaven. The Eye of Heaven covered the entire universe. The communication between cultivators was carried out through the Eye of Heaven. If one wanted to investigate the Soaring Rainbow sect, one only needed to monitor the communication of everyone in the Soaring Rainbow sect to obtain the information. After a while, Jiang Xi finished looking at the star chart. He had an idea in his mind and was about to order the army to be dispatched. Nan Song suddenly said, "Junior Apprentice Brother, before you carry out the trial mission, there is one thing I need to remind you of." "Please speak, Senior Apprentice Brother." Jiang Xi nodded. "After you give the order, the heart-questioning mission will officially begin. I will truthfully report all your performance in the mission to the sect. Pay attention, every detail. Nan Song's expression was very serious. Thank you, senior apprentice brother. Jiang Ci immediately reacted. This was Nan Song's kind reminder. Then, he said to Chen Hu with a serious expression, Elder Chen Hu, I will only provide a basic idea. I will leave the detailed battle plan to you. Chen Hu was stunned. He thought that Jiang Ci would be in full command of this mission. He didn't expect that Jiang Ci would give him the authority. Every profession has its own specialization. When it comes to cultivation and combat, I believe that I am very talented. However, I have no experience in commanding an army of 100,000 cultivators. Jiang Ci shook his head and explained. Every profession has its own specialization. Elder Jiang Ci is very wise. Chen Hu praised, then smiled and said, in that case, I will embarrass myself. Jiang Ci continued, because the trial will be conducted in person, I only have one request. Arrest all the cultivators of the Soaring Rainbow sect who have violated the laws of the Heavenly Court. Don't let a single one go. Chen Hu nodded. Then, his battle plan would be formulated according to this request. Next, he began to dispatch the 100,000 troops of the 4th Battalion. They split up and went to the various Soaring Rainbow sect forces scattered across the Blue Star region. The main force of the 100,000 troops would secretly surround and monitor the headquarters of the Soaring Rainbow sect. They would do their best to ensure that the people of the Soaring Rainbow sect headquarters would not be alerted before taking action. Then, the 100,000 troops would pull in the net at the same time, not letting a single one go. With the overall strength of the 4th Battalion, 100,000 Essence Soul Realm Cultivators, 10,000 Dao Integration Realm Cultivators, and 100 Tribulation Transcenders, the Soaring Rainbow sect wouldn't be able to raise any waves. Soaring Rainbow Galaxy, Soaring Rainbow Planet. A long rainbow hung in the sky above Soaring Rainbow Planet, as if it had been there since ancient times. This special planet was the headquarters of the Soaring Rainbow sect. The holy land of the Soaring Rainbow sect, Soaring Rainbow Grotto Heaven. An ancient altar of the Holy Land was emitting a faint immortal aura. At this time, the 5 immortal ancestors of the Soaring Rainbow sect had all awakened from their secluded cultivation. In addition to the 4th Tribulation Transcender Immortal Yuan Ku and the 3rd Tribulation Transcender Immortal Yuan Jin, there were also 3 First Tribulation Transcenders. Although Immortal Yuan Ku had lived for more than 40,000 years, his appearance was still that of a handsome young man. On the other hand, the other 4 Tribulation Transcenders younger than him were all white-haired old men. The only thing the 5 of them had in common was that their expressions were very dignified. Yuan Ku said, Yuan Jin, what's the situation outside? Tell me. Yes. Yuan Jin nodded and said in a deep voice, just now, the interstellar teleportation array of the Soaring Rainbow Planet stopped working. At the same time, an invisible barrier appeared in the starry sky of the Soaring Rainbow Planet. Even a Dao Integration Realm cultivator wouldn't be able to pass through it. Then, I sent people to contact the various forces of the Soaring Rainbow sect, but they all lost contact. So, we are surrounded. Yuan Jin finally concluded. The expressions of the 3 First Tribulation Transcenders changed greatly. In the Blue Star region, who dares to provoke our Soaring Rainbow sect? Even the Blue Cloud sect has to show us some respect. Indeed, the entire Soaring Rainbow Galaxy was like an independent kingdom. The Blue Cloud sect, which had actual jurisdiction over the Blue Star region, didn't have any forces here. This was because the overall strength of the Soaring Rainbow sect was almost the same as that of the Blue Cloud sect. If the Blue Cloud sect didn't have a true monarch ancestor who had lived for countless years, it would be hard to say who would emerge victorious. There's only one possibility. The Purple Heaven sect has set their sights on us. Yuan Ku's expression was gloomy. The Purple Heaven sect? Yuan Jin and the 3 First Tribulation Transcenders were shocked and terrified. As immortal ancestors, they were very clear about what was wrong with the Soaring Rainbow sect. Over the past tens of thousands of years, almost everything that the Soaring Rainbow sect had done in secret had violated the laws of the Heavenly Court. Now that they were targeted by such a behemoth, their Soaring Rainbow sect had absolutely no power to resist. "Ancestor, what should we do now?" one of the first tribulation transcenders asked. "This is the reason why I woke everyone up. Now, we have to erase the problems left behind over the past 40,000 years." Yuan Ku's tone was filled with killing intent. "Kill all the participants?" Yuan Jin frowned and said with some hesitation. The three first tribulation transcenders were also hesitant. The Soaring Rainbow sect had the intention of ruling over the world. The main power of the sect was the people surnamed Yuan. And these 5 immortal ancestors were the true bloodline ancestors of the people surnamed Yuan. Among the participants, their closest descendants were included. "What, are you feeling sorry for them?" Yuan Ku sneered. Yuan Jin and the 3 first tribulation transcenders remained silent. "Hypocrites! The path of immortality is the path of ruthlessness. With your temperament, how can you go far?" Yuan Ku sneered. However, he still said, "Don't worry, just kill all the main participants. As for the other participants, they only know some details. The Purple Heaven sect won't be able to punish us with just this information. Moreover, I've already sent a message to my master. With him behind the scenes, we'll definitely be able to get through this crisis safely." Yuan Jin and the other 3 heaved a sigh of relief at the same time, and their complexions became slightly better. They knew that their ancestors' master was a truly powerful existence that could shake the 9 regions of the Tao Alliance. With this person stepping forward, this matter would be settled. Afterward, they ordered all the main participants to gather in the Soaring Rainbow Grotto Heaven. These people's cultivation levels ranged from the Tao integration stage to the nascent soul stage. A total of more than 30,000 people were wiped out with just a thought. Begging for mercy, cursing, crying, filled the Soaring Rainbow Grotto Heaven. Resentment would produce baleful aura. The stronger the person's cultivation, the stronger the baleful aura after death. After more than 30,000 people died, the Holy Land of the Soaring Rainbow sect seemed to have turned into a demon's den that was filled with baleful aura. In just an hour, huge flying ships appeared in the starry sky outside the Soaring Rainbow planet one after another, lining up in a formation. These were the flying ships used by the Purple Heaven sect's Blue Sky Division's Cultivator Army. The 4th Battalion, whose lowest cultivation level was at the nascent soul stage, emitted a mighty aura that covered the entire planet and alarmed everyone on the Soaring Rainbow planet. An army was approaching. The 5 immortal Tao ancestors of the Soaring Rainbow sect looked at each other and rejoiced. Even an army had come, which meant that the Purple Heaven sect was serious. If they had been a step late and failed to kill all the main participants, they would have left behind a lot of evidence. Yuan Ku smiled and said, "Let's go. Act normal and welcome the guests of the Purple Heaven sect." Yuan Jin and the other 3 were immortal Tao experts, after all. They still had basic mental fortitude, and they also smiled. The 5 of them flew toward the starry sky together. "You may not know your crime, but I know what crime you have committed. After my Purple Heaven sect's investigation, the Flying Rainbow sect's old ancestor is you, immortal Yuan Ku. In the past 40,000 years, not only did you establish the White Feather Star trade, you also conducted illegal interstellar trade and sold cultivators golden cores and nascent souls. You also instigated the Flying Rainbow sect to illegally enslave 2,895 indigenous life planets. Among them, 1625 planets were destroyed by your Flying Rainbow sect and turned into dead planets. Nearly 1 trillion people lost their lives because of this." Jiang Xi's voice was like thunder, reverberating in the starry sky of the Flying Rainbow planet. Everyone on the planet heard it. The expressions of Yuan Jin and the other 3 first tribulation transcenders changed greatly. Jiang Xi's numbers were too accurate. He even knew how many indigenous life planets there were. Did this mean that Jiang Xi had indeed collected conclusive evidence? Yuan Ku still maintained his composure, although his heart was heavy. Elder Jiang Xi, you need evidence to say these things. If you don't have evidence, then you are just spouting nonsense. Even if you are a core disciple of the Purple Heaven sect, my Flying Rainbow sect will not let you live under the same sky. Yuan Ku said angrily. You want evidence? Jiang Xi smiled and said, I don't need evidence for my trial. Huh? You think you can bully us just because you are from the Purple Heaven sect? I want to see if the Tao Alliance will still have people after today's scene spreads throughout the 9 realms of the Tao Alliance. Yuan Ku laughed angrily. But before he could finish his words, he stopped abruptly, and his expression froze. Jiang Xi waved his hand and said with an indifferent expression, of course. If you want evidence, I will give you evidence so that you can die with understanding. One by one, figures with their cultivation shackled came out of the 100 flying ships behind them. Soon, more than 600,000 elders and disciples from the various forces of the Flying Rainbow sect appeared in the starry sky. Most of these people were terrified and uneasy. They had resisted before. But in the face of a powerful army of cultivators, they had no power to resist. They didn't even have the chance to commit suicide. Yuan Zhangshua, the descendant of the sect master who controlled the Flying Rainbow planet trade, was among these 600,000 people. 200 years ago, he had a conflict with Jiang Xi because of the Mountain Sea planet trade. He was almost killed by Jiang Xi, but he managed to escape in the end. This time, however, he didn't manage to escape. He was captured by the cultivators of the 4th Battalion. He looked at the familiar figure in horror. 200 years had passed, but the hatred in his heart hadn't diminished. Instead, the fear in his heart had deepened. What kind of enemy did I offend back then? His body trembled, but his cultivation had been shackled. He couldn't escape. He wasn't the only one. At this moment, the 5 patriarchs of the Flying Rainbow sect also felt a chill in their hearts. The Purple Heaven sect was too vicious. More than 600,000 members of the Flying Rainbow sect's various forces had been captured. This meant that the Purple Heaven sect had indeed gathered all the evidence. Elder Jiang Xi. Yuan Ku said in a low voice. But before he could finish, Jiang Xi interrupted him again. Jiang Xi said coldly, according to the Heavenly Court's decrees, Flying Rainbow sect has a total of 1 person who violated the Heavenly Court's first-tier decrees, 4 who violated the second-tier decrees, 57 who violated the third-tier decrees, and 4,126 who violated the fourth-tier decrees. In total, there are 983,870 people who violated the Heavenly Court's decrees. I sentence you to death. Carry it out immediately. Boom. The 600,000 people whose cultivation had been shackled immediately exploded. Angry voices and miserable begging for mercy resounded everywhere. Yuan Ku's complexion also changed greatly. He said loudly, Jiang Xi, this is nearly 1 million lives we're talking about. Aren't you afraid of suffering the wrath of the heavens? He knew that Jiang Xi had only cultivated for a short time, so he wanted to use this to disturb Jiang Xi's mind. As for the 1 million lives, he really didn't care about it. 1 million lives? Jiang Xi said coldly, then what kind of wrath should the Flying Rainbow sect suffer for killing nearly 1 trillion people? Elder Jiang Xi, don't be so cruel. Doing such a cruel thing will affect your future cultivation. The old third tribulation transcender, Yuan Jin, said with a distressed expression. I'm upright and upright. What do I have to fear? Jiang Xi was very calm. Good. Since that's the case, I won't lose out if I take a genius like you with me before I die. Yuan Ku roared and made a final struggle. His figure flashed, and he waved his hand, sending out a large palm. Immortal power violently surged, and the majestic power of the Tao instantly attacked Jiang Xi. Lu Chuan was the first to react. He prepared to use the Inferno prison to protect Jiang Xi. However, Jiang Xi raised his hand to stop him. At the same time, he ordered, "Senior brother Nan Song, kill the immortal powerhouses first." Haha, understood. Sixth Tribulation Transcender Nan Song laughed wildly. His black robe fluttered, and an immortal sword flew out. Whoosh! It directly destroyed Yuan Ke's large palm. The 5 immortal ancestors of the Flying Rainbow sect knew that they were in a desperate situation. They wanted to earn as much as they could before they died. The 5 of them combined their attack formation, and an earth-shattering attack spread out in all directions. Even the 600,000 people of the Flying Rainbow sect who had been shackled were within the range of the attack. Petty tricks. Nan Song made a hand seal, and the immortal sword instantly turned into 100,000 swords. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. The rain of swords covered the entire starry sky and directly locked onto Yuan Ke's group of 5. Boom boom boom. A violent explosion resounded in the starry sky of the Flying Rainbow planet. Waves of shockwaves spread out for tens of thousands of kilometers. When they passed by the Flying Rainbow planet, the planet also experienced a great upheaval. After everything calmed down, only the remains of some magical treasures were left at the center of the explosion. As for Yuan Ke's group of 5, they had already turned into ashes. In just one move, a 4th Tribulation Transcender, a 3rd Tribulation Transcender, and 3 First Tribulation Transcender had all died. When the 600,000 people whose cultivation had been shackled saw this scene, their faces turned ashen. Chapter 510. Jiang Xi looked coldly at the millions of people from the Soaring Rainbow sect. These people had all participated in the illegal enslavement of the indigenous planets and their hands were all stained with blood. "I sentence you to death." A cold voice echoed in the starry sky. Many of the millions of cultivators fell into despair while some resisted. Jiang Xi said that he would fight alone and this angered them even more. A Dao integration stage elder of the Soaring Rainbow sect said angrily, "Since we're going to die anyway, let's fight him to the death." A mere primordial soul stage cultivator wants to fight 1,000,000 people from the Soaring Rainbow sect alone? Arrogant to the extreme. Kill. Finally, each of them attacked Jiang Xi with a ferocious look on their faces. They were cruel people to begin with, and in such a desperate situation, they revealed their true nature. Jiang Xi only snorted coldly and the supreme-grade immortal artifact, Scarlet Heaven Sword, appeared in his hand. 4 Dao techniques were used at the same time. Sword Dao, Gale, Parting Fire, and Vajra. 4 Dao techniques spiraled and descended. Hundreds of gigantic green lotuses bloomed in the starry sky and condensed into countless sword chi that pierced through space with soaring sword intent. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. In an instant, the starry sky turned into a purgatory of blood. Among the millions of cultivators, as long as their cultivation was below the primordial soul stage, they could not even withstand a single strand of his sword chi. The primordial soul stage cultivators were slightly better off, but they could at most withstand 100 sword chi before dying on the spot. Jiang Xi's main target was the 57 Dao integration stage cultivators. His figure flashed and he took the initiative to meet them. Using his body to lead the sword, he suddenly crossed 1,000 miles of void and arrived in front of the Dao integration stage cultivators. Boom boom boom. Hundreds and thousands of powerful Dao techniques landed on Jiang Xi's body but only left a few shallow wounds. They did not even touch his bones. Now, only immortal Dao cultivators could cause real damage to his body. The 57 Dao integration stage cultivators despaired. Chi, sword light flashed and like lightning, it quickly pierced through their heads. Their vitality was cut off and their primordial spirits were extinguished. Although Jiang Xi was still in the primordial soul stage, the strength of his body and spiritual sense were already comparable to Dao integration stage cultivators. Coupled with the fact that his cultivation level was comparable to that of an immortal Dao expert, these people were simply no match for him. In less than 30 seconds, nearly 1,000,000 cultivators were turned into corpses. Nan Song, Chen Hu, and Lu Chuan, these three tribulation transcender powerhouses, were originally prepared to take action at any time, but as soon as Jiang Xi made his move, they were shocked. This was because they discovered that Jiang Xi's sword principle had actually reached the level of perfection of sword intent. The three of them were shocked, especially Nan Song, who was even more shocked. Because his sword Dao was not as high as Jiang Xi's. Perfected sword intent was a Dao technique realm that only sword immortals above the sixth tribulation could attain. No wonder he could become senior Zhongli's disciple. With such talent, he is not far off from the epic geniuses, right? Nan Song sighed emotionally. This did not include Jiang Xi's other three Daoist techniques. In the starry sky, strands of baleful blood energy were ceaselessly circling Jiang Xi's body, and his eyes were completely scarlet red. Just looking at it was enough to make one tremble in fear. Resentment could turn into baleful aura. The higher one's cultivation level was when they were alive, the denser the baleful aura produced after death. The baleful aura produced by nearly 1 million people had already condensed into form. In the form of baleful blood energy, it was attached to Jiang Xi's body. Junior brother, you are now plagued by baleful blood energy. You have to be careful. Before you subdue the baleful blood energy, you can't do such bloodthirsty things. Nan Song said worriedly. Chen Hu and Lu Chuan nodded as well. Baleful blood energy affected one's mind and cultivation. Jiang Xi was only at the essence soul realm and had only cultivated for a short period of time. If he did not handle such dense baleful blood energy well, it could easily lead to serious consequences. Thank you, senior brother. Jiang Xi bowed respectfully. Then, he smiled and said, however, this baleful blood energy can't affect me. With that said, the baleful blood energy circling around him quickly calmed down. In less than a breath, it disappeared without a trace. Nan Song and the other two looked at each other in surprise. It seemed that Jiang Xi was far more powerful than they had imagined. Jiang Xi smiled gently. When he was still at the nascent soul realm, he dared to cultivate in the blood sea of the battle pattern continent for decades. The blood sea was a sea of baleful blood energy that was extremely dense and condensed into a liquid form. Therefore, this bit of baleful blood energy was nothing. Moreover, his primordial spirit had fused with the peacock visualization technique's image, giving him a feeling of being able to ward off evil. His primordial spirit only needed to shake slightly to disperse the baleful blood energy. Next, everyone's gaze turned to the nearly 1 million corpses and looked at the flying rainbow planet that hung in the sky. The flying rainbow sect is finished. Chen Hu sighed. After 1 million years of inheritance, one wrong step will cause them to fall into a bottomless abyss. Nan Song shook his head. The heavens are watching what people do. Even if I don't destroy the flying rainbow sect today, someone will destroy it in the future. Jiang Xi said softly. He was in a good mood and the pent-up anger in his heart was gone. Since the change on Earth, he had been holding back his anger and could not find a way to vent it. Even if his state of mind had reached the second level and could tolerate all things. But this was something he could not tolerate. It was like his house. Without his permission, others took the 2 best rooms and moved in openly. Then, he could not resist. This feeling of powerlessness made him hold back his anger. Now, after a massacre, he had vented all his anger. His whole person seemed to have been sublimated and looked at the problem more clearly. Indeed, as his master, the Wine Sword Immortal, said, as long as he was alive, he would have the opportunity to step onto the peak step by step. Sooner or later, when he was strong enough, he would be able to change everything. Then, the 100,000 soldiers of the 4th Brigade returned to the East Pole Island of the Blue Star through the interstellar teleportation array. Only the Tsangyan sect had noticed such a large formation. As the ruler of the Blue Star region, they had long wanted to destroy the Flying Rainbow sect and take back the entire Flying Rainbow galaxy, as well as the thousands of other life galaxies that the Flying Rainbow sect had occupied. Therefore, the Flying Rainbow sect was completely finished. However, all of this had nothing to do with Jiang Xi. After thanking Elder Chen Hu, he left the Blue Star with Nan Song and Lu Chuan to complete the second stage of the Questioning Heart mission. At the edge of the Blue Star region, in the Kima Galaxy, on the Fallen Planet, a high-grade immortal artifact flying ship flew out from the fallen planet, then accelerated to the speed of light and shuttled into the source space. Jiang Xie, Nan Song, and Lu Chuan sat in an elegant resting cabin. "Senior brother, can you tell me the content of the mission now?" Jiang Xi was a little helpless. Just now, on the Blue Star and the Fallen Planet, Nan Song only said that they were going to carry out the second stage of the mission, but he did not say the specific content of the mission. He said that he wanted to keep it a secret so that no one would leak the news. Nan Song smiled and waved his hand to bring up a three-dimensional image, showing the information of an immortal powerhouse. 9 Tribulation Transcender, Immortal 2U. Jiang Xi's expression changed. "Senior brother, don't tell me you want me to kill him. The upper echelons of the sect are not that stupid." Nan Song shook his head and continued, "The second stage of the mission is related to the first stage because Soaring Rainbow Sect's 4 Tribulation Transcender, Yuan Ku, is Immortal 2U's disciple. Immortal 2U also participated in the matter of Soaring Rainbow Sect and violated the laws of the Heavenly Court." Jiang Xi frowned slightly. Some time ago, he destroyed the illegal star trade group White Feather Star Trade. There was an unknown immortal powerhouse behind it, and his cultivation was at least at the 6th Tribulation Transcender level. At that time, he was puzzled as to who this mysterious immortal powerhouse was. That was because Soaring Rainbow Sect did not have any powerhouses above the 6th Tribulation Transcender level. Now, it seemed that it was this Immortal 2U. However, the problem was that in the current universe, Dao monarchs did not appear, and perfected monarchs were hidden. Any 9 Tribulation Transcender was an existence that shook the 9 regions of the Dao Alliance. If such a powerhouse violated the laws of the Heavenly Court, it would not be up to him to judge. At the very least, it would be a Dao Immortal Perfected Monarch. Facing Jiang Xi's question, Nan Song shook his head again and said, "This is the key point of the second stage of the mission. Immortal 2U had 18 disciples and 18 servants, all of whom were immortal powerhouses. Among them, Yuan Ku was already dead, and the remaining 35 people were also involved in various illegal activities. This includes, but is not limited to, the illegal enslavement of indigenous planets and the sale of golden cores and nascent souls of cultivators. There are also blood sacrifices, soul refinement, and other serious violations of the laws of the Heavenly Court. Then, my mission is to judge the remaining 35 people? And what about Immortal 2U?" Jiang Xi took a deep breath and asked 2 questions in a row with a solemn expression. "That's right. This time, it will still be a trial, and the sentencing standard will still be determined by you. The light punishment will be jail time, and the heavy punishment will be death." Nan Song nodded. Then, he said, "As for Immortal 2U, he is a very cautious person. Jiang Xi greets Senior 2U. Jiang Xi bowed respectfully. Even if they were here to slap him in the face, they still had to put on an act. Nan Song had already told the short-haired woman their identities, so 2U must have already known. In addition, since Yuan Ku was 2U's disciple, he must have asked his master for help before he died. "Jiang Xi of the Purple Heaven sect, why have you come to my place?" 2U said in a low voice. There was no expression on his face. Just as Jiang Xi had thought, Yuan Ku had told him everything. Just 3 days ago, he had specially used his connections in the Heavenly Court to save Yuan Ku's life. However, Jiang Xi had acted too quickly and did not give him any chance to deal with him. Therefore, he knew very well that Jiang Xi had not come with good intentions. Jiang Xi calmed down slightly, looked straight into 2U's eyes, and said, "Senior 2U, I came here to judge the 35 immortal Dao powerhouses under Senior's sect. As soon as his voice fell, ha ha ha. Tu Yu laughed out loud, as if he had heard the biggest joke in the world. His laughter reverberated in the hall, rumbling like thunder. The Tribulation Transcender Immortals and Tao Integration Stage Cultivators on both sides also laughed, their faces full of ridicule. Amidst this laughter, Jiang Xi's expression did not change, and his eyes were still fixed on Tu Yu. Soon, the laughter gradually subsided. A mere primordial soul stage cultivator dares to come here and talk big? Aren't you afraid that I will kill you now? Tu Yu's voice was cold. If Senior kills me, there will be no place for Senior in the 9 regions of the Human Tao Alliance. Jiang Xi said. Humph, how dare you? Tu Yu calmed down. He indeed did not dare to kill Jiang Xi. The Wine Sword Immortal alone was enough to make him very afraid. Moreover, Jiang Xi was now representing the Purple Heaven sect. If he really killed Jiang Xi, he could only escape to the monster race or the ghost race. Senior brother, read out the evidence, Jiang Xi said to Nan Song. Nan Song nodded with a smile and waved his hand to call out a 3-dimensional phantom. Then, he said loudly, First Tribulation Transcender Yanhe, in order to refine pills in the past 10,000 years, sacrificed 30 billion human beings as a blood sacrifice. He violated the second-class law of the Heavenly Court, and can be sentenced to 10,000 years in prison or death. On the left side of the hall, a young man with a feminine appearance sneered. He did not believe that Jiang Xi would dare to kill him. Yanhe, stand in front, Tu Yu said expressionlessly. Yes, master. The feminine man came to the bottom of the hall and was very respectful to Tu Yu. However, when he looked at Jiang Xi, his face was full of disdain. Jiang Xi, you have to think carefully. Tu Yu's blue eyes stared at Jiang Xi. The Purple Heaven sect wanted to judge him, and he could not resist. Now, it was up to Jiang Xi to decide what punishment he would give. This junior will take his leave now. Jiang Xi bowed respectfully. Tu Yu gritted his teeth and said, I won't see you out. Jiang Xi turned around and flew away with Nan Song and Lu Chuan. There was dead silence in the hall. Only the 3 Tribulation Transcenders and a group of Tao Integration Cultivators were left. After an unknown period of time, Tu Yu suddenly shouted angrily, I'm so angry. In the starry sky outside Tu Yu's planet, Nan Song's high-grade immortal boat flashed and shuttled into the source space. In the resting cabin, Jiang Xi, who originally had an indifferent expression, suddenly seemed to have lost all his strength. He sat down and gasped for breath. Nan Song and Lu Chuan looked at each other and laughed. Nan Song smiled and said, Junior brother, I thought you weren't afraid. Bullshit, that's a 9th Tribulation Transcender. He can kill me with just a breath. Jiang Xi said loudly. Huh. Nan Song and Lu Chuan laughed loudly. Jiang Xi shook his head helplessly. Just now, in Tu Yu's palace, if his mental state hadn't already reached the 2nd level, he would have been scared out of his wits. That kind of condensed killing intent formed a huge pressure, and it was definitely not something that a nascent soul cultivator could withstand. Attack first, then change later. Chapter 512. The sect's Heart Inquisition was also one of his Heart Inquisitions. From killing Baiyu Xingmao, to the crisis on Earth, to the destruction of the Flying Rainbow sect, and finally to the trial of the disciples of the 9 Tribulation Immortal Tu Yu. Jiang Xi's heart had also undergone a baptism. In the resting cabin, Jiang Xi suddenly comprehended something. He sat cross-legged and sank his mind into his sea of consciousness. In the sky above his sea of consciousness, the 4-colored halo behind the head of the Essence Soul sitting on the Lotus platform circulated and began to change. His mental cultivation had begun to improve. Nan Song and Lu Chuan looked at each other, somewhat surprised but also somewhat happy. Both of them were immortal Tao experts, so they naturally knew that Jiang Xi had broken through. They were now close to Jiang Xi. Seeing Jiang Xi break through, they were also happy for Jiang Xi. 3 days later, the high-grade flying ship left the source space. Jiang Xi leisurely woke up. His mental state had undergone a huge change. The most obvious thing was that the four-colored halo behind the essence soul had become much denser. He had taken another step towards the perfection of the second level of the mental state. Then, the three of them bade farewell at the interstellar teleportation array on planet Fallen. Nan Song had to return to the sect to report the situation of Jiang Xi's heart-questioning mission to the sect's upper echelons. Junior brother, the mission this time was very exciting. I reckon that the sect's upper echelons will give you a high score. Nan Song was afraid that Jiang Xi would be worried, so he gave him a heads up. No matter what the outcome is, thank you, senior brother. Jiang Xi bowed solemnly. In fact, he no longer paid much attention to this outcome. After his mental state improved again and changed, he became calmer and more rational. He also had a clear direction for his next cultivation plan. It didn't matter if he went to the decision-making level or not in the future. As long as he could become a peak expert of the human race, he could change the fate of Earth. It was just a matter of time. Becoming a decision-maker would allow him to achieve this goal sooner. After Nan Song activated the interstellar teleportation array and left, Jiang Xi said to Lu Chuan, thank you for this period of time. I've already recommended you to Master. After some time, he will transfer you to Earth. Lu Chuan was pleasantly surprised. He had suffered before and knew the pain of not having a backer. Cultivators of the immortal path also needed to understand the ways of the world, especially in the Purple Heaven sect, which was full of factions. Before meeting Jiang Xi, he had offended a sixth tribulation transcender of his sect, and thus had been hidden for many years. It wasn't until Jiang Xi recruited him into the Ministry of Supervision that he finally got out of his predicament. Now, if the Wine Sword Immortal transferred him to Earth, then he would become a subordinate of the Wine Sword Immortal. Who was the Wine Sword Immortal? Even though he had disappeared for 50,000 years, his name still spread throughout the universe. With such a powerful backer, he would be able to obtain even more cultivation resources in the future. The future was promising. After the pleasant surprise, Lu Chuan suddenly frowned and said, "My lord, what about you? You definitely won't give up. I'd better stay by your side." Jiang Xi laughed. "Don't worry, I have already made arrangements. Even if Tu has the guts, he won't dare to trouble me." Earth, Xian Tian City. It had been 7 days since Jiang Xi returned from Tu planet. On this day, Jiang Xi and the Wine Sword Immortal were on a snowy mountain outside the Xian Tian City, admiring the scenery of the western plateau of the Great Xia dynasty. "Disciple, have you decided?" the Wine Sword Immortal asked. "Yes." Jiang Xi nodded. The Wine Sword Immortal smiled and said, "The supervising elder has great power. If you give up this position, you will lose a lot of things. Strength is the foundation of power. It's good that you understand this principle. Therefore, I plan to cultivate in the ancient Tao source world for 300 years and strive to reach the Tao integration stage. Since you've decided, then go ahead. The Tao integration stage is the time when one's strength improves the fastest. As for Earth, don't worry, I will help you guard it." The Wine Sword Immortal leisurely drank a mouthful of wine. "Thank you, Master." Jiang Xi bowed respectfully. He had already expressed his gratitude many times. If he said anything else now, it would seem a little pretentious. The only thing he was worried about now was his master's lifespan. The Wine Sword Immortal didn't have much lifespan left. He only had 3,000 years left. If he couldn't reverse life and death and become a Tao Immortal Stage True Monarch, then his lifespan would dry up and he would die. However, Jiang Xi also knew that it was useless for him to worry. As someone who had yet to become an immortal, he simply didn't have the ability to help solve the problems faced by a ninth tribulation transcender. Unless he could reach the peak within 3,000 years, then he might have a chance. Going to the ancient Tao source world to cultivate was the next step of his cultivation plan after completing the heart-questioning mission. The core disciples of the Purple Heavens sect were qualified to enter the ancient Tao source world to cultivate in the nascent soul stage, and Tao integration stage. Among them, the fourth heaven nascent soul stage disciples had the opportunity to cultivate in the ancient Tao source world for 300 years. According to his plan, he had to quickly reach the Tao integration stage and strive to have a tremendous change in his strength. In the original universe, if he advanced too quickly, it might arouse suspicion. However, he didn't have to worry about this in the ancient Tao source world. That place was a magical place to begin with. No one would suspect anything that went beyond common sense. Moreover, the flow of time in the ancient Tao source world was 3.6 times faster than in the original universe. He cultivated in the ancient Tao source world for 300 years, which was equivalent to 1,080 years in the original universe. Although it was still very fast to reach the Tao integration stage in 1,000 years, it wasn't impossible. At this moment, the Wine Sword Immortal said, "Since you've decided to cultivate to the Tao integration stage this time, then I'll give you the gift I prepared for you." Gift? What gift? Jiang Xi's eyes lit up. You'll know when you see Master's true body. The Wine Sword Immortal kept him in suspense. Anyone who entered the ancient Tao source world for the first time would be amazed by this gray world. The spirit chi was extremely dense, condensing into spirit mist that could be seen everywhere. Tao techniques that could be seen with the naked eye circulated in the form of colorful lights in the sky on the huge teleportation platform at the edge of Nine Heaven City. Over 100 people were teleported from the original universe to the ancient Tao source world through the Tao Alliance's Heavenly Court Tao Origin Hall's universe channel. Most of them were new core disciples of the Three Gates and Six Sects, and a small portion were cultivators who had made great contributions to the human race. It was their first time entering the ancient Tao source world. Jiang Xi didn't reveal his identity, so he didn't stand out among this group of people. However, he remained silent while everyone was marveling at the wonders of the ancient Tao source world. "Little fellows, I'm the envoy of Nine Heaven City. Some of you have been to Nine Heaven City before, so you know the rules here. Leave on your own. The other newcomers, follow me." At the corner of the teleportation platform, the gray-robed envoy suddenly chuckled. Many people only just realized that there was another gray-robed old man on the teleportation platform. They hurriedly bowed and left. The ancient Tao source world, the sacred land of the human race. Jiang Xi took a deep breath and looked at the familiar environment. He was filled with pride. Now, it was time to improve without restraint. He flew down from the teleportation platform, and below him was the majestic Nine Heaven City. At first glance, this huge city gave people the feeling that it had existed since the beginning of time, as if it had existed since time immemorial. He walked along the wide stone path into the depths of Nine Heaven City. The buildings on both sides of the path were gray stone houses that were more than 3 meters tall. On some roofs, cultivators were looking up to comprehend Tao arts. There was no lack of powerful immortal Tao experts among them. Jiang Xi knew that it was taboo not to disturb these people. "Let's choose a residence first." Choose one that's closer to Master's residence." With that in mind, Jiang Xi soon arrived at the depths of Nine Heaven City. The most central location was naturally the largest Nine Heavens Palace. This was Tao Lord Nine Heaven's residence. The Wine Sword Immortal's residence was nearby. Jiang Xi chose an ownerless stone house not far from his master's residence. This would be his temporary residence for the next 300 years. After choosing his residence, he got up and went to his master's residence. The Wine Sword Immortal's main body knew that Jiang Xi was coming to the ancient Tao origin world today, so he cancelled the public lesson and waited for Jiang Xi. The Wine Sword Immortal reclined in the tallest pavilion of the palace, leisurely drinking wine from his gourd. Jiang Xi came in and knelt respectfully on the ground, kowtowing. "Disciple greets master. We haven't seen each other for half a day. Why are you so formal?" The Wine Sword Immortal smiled. Master's main body and clone are different. I haven't seen Master's main body for more than 200 years, Jiang Xi said honestly. In fact, the Wine Sword Immortal's main body and clone gave him a different feeling. While the clone was bold and unrestrained, it had a bit more ferocious aura. In comparison, the main body was more unrestrained and didn't give off as much pressure. The Wine Sword Immortal shook his head with a smile, then tossed a white jade slip and a gold one to Jiang Xi. These are the gifts I've prepared for you. What are they? Jiang Xi was looking forward to them. Secret techniques. The Wine Sword Immortal said. Secret techniques? Jiang Xi's eyes lit up. He already had 3 secret techniques, the Dao Fusion Technique, the Dao Pattern Technique, and the Dao Seal Technique. Yes, since you've decided to cultivate to the Dao integration stage, as your master, I naturally have to pave the way for you. Because once you reach the Dao integration stage, you'll need to create your own secret techniques, and before that, you'll need a lot of accumulation. There are a total of 360 ordinary secret techniques in the white jade slip. Of course, these secret techniques might seem ordinary, but they're all-encompassing. Not only are there secret techniques in the Sword Dao, but there are also secret techniques in the Saber Dao, Spear Dao, Axe Dao, and so on. There are also secret techniques in the Soul Refinement Technique, Body Refinement Technique, and Auxiliary Technique. Although they won't increase your strength, they'll give you a solid foundation. When you create your own secret technique in the future, you'll be able to draw parallels from them, the Wine Sword Immortal said with a smile. Jiang Xi's spiritual sense entered the white jade slip. Suddenly, a huge amount of information poured into his mind. Even if his spiritual sense was as strong as the Dao integration stage, it still took him half an hour to completely absorb all the information. But this was just like swallowing dates. It would take a lot of time to really understand it. In the gold jade slip, there's only one Sword Dao Pinnacle secret technique, and it's a combat type. The Wine Sword Immortal's eyes glowed. Obviously, this was a very powerful secret technique. Pinnacle secret technique. First release, then change. You're tuning into the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.